The infamous. Yeah. House of Consciousness. Salute the architect, Brother sa.neter. If knowledge got a home, you know where it's at. Let's go! Let's go.
King of consciousness.
Put respect on the name, built the platform for the culture.
Change the whole game.
Different views, different paths.
Everybody got a lane.
When it's time to build the people,
sa.neter leads the way. King of consciousness.
we appreciate the work, gave a voice to the unheard.
Put the teachings first,
From the elders to the youth,
helping all of us learn.
House of Consciousness forever.
Watch the wisdom return.
Before the algorithms, before the trends and hype, he was putting scholars on and bringing truth to light. Opened up the microphone, let the people speak. 7 days a week, dropping jewels for the streets. He gave a host of worldwide fans with diverse minds, from Professor Small to Brother Easy Band. Zion Lex on the screen, bringing knowledge and facts. Brother Reggie in the building, always ready to rap. Punk West brought scientific concepts with a different perspective, making viewers think deeper, asking critical questions. Pastor Bennett with the scriptures, bringing faith to the table. Captain Taz debating, always willing and able. Nat Paul teaching lessons, giving people direction. Shaka bringing knowledge and aggression. Brother Jabari dropping African history, building a stronger connection. The list goes on,
That's a fact.
no exaggeration,
He helped introduce great minds.
to an entire generation.
King of consciousness.
Put respect on the name,
Built the platform for the culture. Changed the whole game.
different views, different paths.
Everybody got a lane.
When it's time to build the people,
sa.neter lead the way. King of consciousness.
we appreciate the work,
Gave a voice to the unheard.
with the teachers first. From the elders to the youth,
Helping all of us learn.
House of Consciousness forever.
Watch the wisdom return.
Some got big followings, some became a star, some were neighborhood legends, some were known from afar, some were elders with wisdom that the youth never knew. Without this platform, many names would have slipped through. He gave space to the Christians, gave space to the Comedics. He knew Israelites, atheists, and academics, Pan-African voices, revolutionaries too. Different ideologies, but everybody came through. That's the beauty of the mission, that's the reason it survived. You ain't gotta agree to have a seat and go live. Economic liberation, mental freedom in the air, teaching self-determination, putting black power everywhere.
Some came for the debates. Some came for the history. Some came for the culture. Some came for the mystery.
But everybody learned something,
Hey,
everybody got a chance.
hi.
House of Consciousness.
Help the people lead faith.
Yeah, what? Whether conscious or religious, whether skeptic or believer, whether scholar or beginner, whether teacher or achiever, he gave room for the dialogue, room for growth and reflection, room for disagreement without destroying our connection. That's rare today in a world full of division. Everybody wants an echo if you tackle the real mission. So salute the contribution, salute the decades invested, building the greatest archive the community's ever been blessed with. Many channels came later,
Hey,
many platforms took notes.
hey. But the house of consciousness.
Keeps the movement afloat.
King of consciousness.
Put respect on the name,
Built a platform for the culture. Changed the whole game.
different views, different paths.
Everybody got a lane.
When it's time to build the people,
sa.neter lead the way. King of consciousness.
we appreciate the work,
Gave a voice to the unheard.
put the teachers first. From the elders to the youth,
He helped all of us learn.
House of Consciousness forever.
Let the wisdom return.
House of Consciousness, a place where ideas meet, a place where voices grow. Salute, brother, from your brother, the infamous
DMG.
Let's go.
Yeah. Y'all already know what it is. Peace and Black Power family. Good to see my brothers, man. Good to see my brothers here. Peace, my brother. What's happening, Ben? How you doing, brother?
Sir, sa.neter, long time no talk. What's going
You
on?
know it,
brother?
man. You know it. Hey, Hey, it is what it is, man. Long as I see you now, looking good. I got my brother Yosef up in here.
That's
Good
right.
to see our brothers. Hey, I seen you in Israel too, brother, out there. You was with Prince, right?
You talking to me? Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah, I was out
Yeah,
there with
you
him.
was out
Absolutely.
there. Y'all, man, y'all doing the work, brother. Y'all are boots on the ground. You
That's
come
right.
back to bring the information to the people over here in America to let us really know what's really good and what's going on. Good to have you here, Prince Yosef. Man, peace and blessings to y'all brothers, man.
Man,
Blessings to
likewise.
you, brother.
Yes, sir. Nepal might be on in a few minutes or later. Nepal come through later. But anyway, let's start this thing off. Talk to us, my brother Yosef.
Yes, sir. I first want to thank you, brother sa.neter. It's been too long. It's been several years since the last
Yes.
time I've been privileged enough to be on your platform. And even though me and you communicate, offline, often we
Right.
check on each other. We make sure we do that. I haven't been on the platform. Part of the reason for that is that I respect the platform and I respect our people immensely. And so I only want to come on when I have something to offer. And I know I probably shouldn't look at, what we do in such a small light because we have such a great work that we represent and a great work that we're doing. And anytime that we speak, we believe that we're speaking from truth and in the best interest of our people. So there's always a reason to come on. But again, you want to be
Right.
circumspect, when approaching our people because you want to give something that only just edify them, but electrify them and elevate them. And so we always want to, come in that vein. You know what I mean? We're not
Right.
necessarily debaters. We respect it, and it's necessary to have the ability to dialogue about different ideas. But we always want to bring forth a plan, a vision, and some substance. So let me first say that. So I thank you again for affording us the opportunity. Again, it's good to see you, brother. I pray all is well with you and the family. We wanted to come on first, before I go any further. I'll be remiss if I don't give all honor and praise to the creator of the heavens and the earth. In the Hebraic language, we say Yah, Israel, Yah, Yahweh. Just simply mean the God of creation, the God of our fathers. I do want to take the time to acknowledge our spiritual leader, is anointed Ben-Ami HaMashiach, our leadership, the princedom, Sareen, which is our ministers, and all of our brothers and sisters in the kingdom. But I also want to extend a great sense of gratitude and appreciation for all of our ancestors in whatever form or fashion they may be found, because whatever black man and woman has come on this planet in the name of truth and have given their life, their toil, their energy to the advancement of our people, they need to be honored and respected and revered. And that's why, even though I'm a Hebrew Israelite, you see the Honorable Elijah Muhammad behind me, not only because my mother was a Muslim follower, but because he was a great man for our people, and he advanced our people, whether we believe in the religion of Islam or any other of his doctrine. We know that his work proved worthy of a great man that don't need to be remembered but honored at the highest level. But all of our brothers and sisters who have contributed to our advancement. So we come in that vein, brother. Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. How difficult it is for you, because I find myself always having to defend the Honorable Elijah Muhammad when people come at you and say, he was with young girls. How difficult it is for you to clean that up or address it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I always want to approach any conversation in good faith. Now, if a brother or sister is genuinely misinformed and they're completely consumed by the narrative that has been promulgated by our enemies, then yes, I'll have no problem in educating them because I understand that they just don't know and they actually want to learn. And so we have information. But if you come in just to try to besmirch the character of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad or try to dissuade somebody from looking at his life and his example because you yourself feel inadequate or you feel like you haven't contributed in the way that you believe is best for yourself, your family, and our people, then I don't have any energy for you, brother or sister, because time out for that, man. We can't keep being so short-sighted and small-minded that every time one of us, those of melanated, black, African, however you want to categorize yourself, those of us that are original to this planet, stand up and go against the status quo, go against the colonizing and enslaving forces and do something for self. It's us that try to counter the narrative with lies and deceptions. And I don't blame our people because I understand what they've been victim of, but we can't accept it. Absolutely not. And so I don't even give an ear to it no more because I know those brothers and sisters don't come in good conscience nor in good faith. Those are just attack campaigns that has been used, by people through the enemy to try to dissuade us or convince us that those who actually are good for us are otherwise. And I don't give that any intention or any acknowledgement, brother. Not at this point in my life.
Beautiful.
Yes, sir.
Would you like to talk with us and share with us what you have learned through your travels over there to Israel, to Dimona, and speak to us about what's really going on over there?
Yes, sir. We wanted to come on.
If you have any clip that you want me to play, I can play it. If just
Sure.
let me know.
Absolutely. I did send over 3 videos, and I'm just going to just open up and then we'll play some of the videos and then we'll come back and discuss it. And I want to give away to my brother as well. I just want to take a quick moment to acknowledge, my brother, Prince Uriah, who's on the video with me. You've met him several times, brother, sa.neter. He's a strong brother. He's a great brother. He's my brother. But I just have to give him a special acknowledgement because even though it seems small, because he a rider, I mean that in the most literal sense, that when it's time to go for truth, he's going to do it no matter what. But when we decided to go to Israel, we did it in the middle of a war. You know what I mean? It was with Iran and Israel exchanging missiles that had catastrophic damage that was not just destroying infrastructure, but taking literal lives. And so we, as the rest of the world, were here in America watching the catastrophe and the catastrophic damage take place. But we realized when those missiles hit in Dimona, which is our capital city of the African Hebrew Israelites that have resided in Israel for nearly 60 years. And we want to talk about the significance of that, and we're going to go deeper into that. But I just want to kind of set the stage of what made us go to Israel during this time and why I'm lifting up my brother in the way that I am. And then within 30 minutes, our second city that we have the greatest population, which is Arad, which for all intent and purpose of those who are familiar with the Israeli state, Arad is considered, if not the safest, one of the safest cities in the whole state of Israel, where no terrorist attacks, no damage, murder, none of that happens in Arad. They call it the city of love. It's just one of those peaceful cities. And so when a missile hit and destroyed, residential homes and took lives, none of our people died as a result of the missile hitting. We thank God, but lives were lost, and we don't want to see any lives lost. We knew we had to do something. And so myself and my brother pondered on, what we needed to do and how we need to respond to such catastrophe. And I prayed and I meditated, and then, I called on the spirit of my father, brother sa.neter. I said, what would Pops do? And it came to me so clear. He would go check on his people.
Correct.
For those who don't know, my father, my biological father, is Prince ICL Ben Israel. He served as the international ambassador for the Hebrew Israelite community for nearly 50 years, but he was a friend of Black people globally. He traveled all throughout the continent of Africa and all throughout the Americas, establishing relationships, establishing alliances, and just building on behalf of our people. And so my brother sa.neter had the privilege to interview him, and he has his interview on his channel. So
I was blessed to sit with him, brother.
Yes,
so
sir.
I feel good about that.
Yes, sir. And so he's a history maker, and I don't shy from that because I thank God for such a wonderful father, wonderful leader, and a wonderful example. And I'm so grateful that I get to follow in his footsteps, that I get to, continue his legacy. So when I said, what would my father do? And like I said, it came clear to me, he would go check on his people. And so that's when I decided we were going to Israel. Now, this is the difficult part. It's the middle of a war again. You can't just fly into Israel. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so not only can you not just fly in, the airports are shut down. It's only one.
I was thinking about that too, brother. Sorry to cut you off. I was like, how did they get into Israel in the air?
Yes, sir.
So you're addressing that right now. Go ahead.
Absolutely. And so I said, okay, I know it was one way that we can get in, and that was through the border of Jordan. Jordan it's an Arab nation, but they're the most friendliest, to Israel. And they've always had kind of comfortable relationships, and we can, discuss why a little bit later. And so we was like, okay, we could do a land border. We can fly into Jordan and then cross over on land. But before I get to that, I have to say, again, this was just in the conception stage. It was really no plan, no strategy how we was gonna get on there. You know what I'm saying? Developing the resources that, to take that type of journey, you're talking about at least $10,000 minimum, because you got to take flights to a different country, you got to cross over. Those are, costs and expenses. You got to pay people to take you over there, because you're gonna need translators, because you have to drive and travel into parts where they speak very little English. So you need Arabic speakers and Hebrew speakers, and you need people that know the territory, because again, anybody that's traveling, especially a foreigner at that time, can be considered an agent, can be considered, some type of military or intelligence officer. And so you got to be very circumspect about how you're moving. So again,
before you carry on, let me let you know you got your brother, the mighty Hebrew Prince Charlandine, in the building.
Man, blessings to the brother. I'm forever grateful to the mighty Hebrew, because he established this relationship. He made the connection that you and I could have this relationship. So big shalom to our brother.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, brother.
And so again, we decided that, well, at this point it was just myself. Okay, I got to do it, but I knew I couldn't go alone. And so I asked this person, I asked that person, and no, the answer was, I am not going over there, no war right now. But when I asked my brother, Prince Yorai, he was like, all right, what we got to do? When we going? I said, brother, you sure? He's absolutely, you know what I mean? Whatever we got to do, I ain't letting you go by yourself. And I know that this is important for us to be over there. And so once that was established, everything else fell into place. I do have to say this without getting no detail. I knew before I left, I had to talk to certain people. And so this was a very, very, not just a dangerous situation, but it was a very spiritually important situation. And I sought the guidance and leadership of those who I personally trust, but also my father trusts. Chief among them, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And so I want to just give a special thank you to the Nation of Islam and Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for the guidance, for the help, the assistance, the wisdom that he instilled in us and prepared us for our trip. The reason why I wanted to mention that, because we're really more connected than we realize. And the interests of us as a people is shared. And when we understand that, when we work together and function together and seek to unite on our similarities and not our differences, we have power. Because for all intent and purposes, the enemy has conspired, no matter how they look, divided amongst each other. When it comes to their aims and how they treat us, they're absolutely tied in together, and they're absolutely in a unity and in a coalition amongst one another. And we have to form that same coalition. And so we was able to get the resources. We got the guidance. Me and my brother, we journeyed out to Jordan. We flew into the capital there. And when we got to Jordan, which is Amman, just to make, listen, audience, Amman, Jordan is the capital. Man, it was a beautiful experience. It was almost if, and I excuse the spiritual euphemism, but it was almost as the carpet was, thrown out for us, like the Creator opened all doors for us, because everywhere we went, even if it looked like there was going to be some type of confrontation or some type of impediment, we were able to circumvent it, brother. And it was so beautiful, because it was a situation where we couldn't cross the border to the next day based on our flight landing at a certain time, the journey being a couple hours to even get to the border, and then, it having a time limit. And so we had to stay a night in Jordan. So we was able to connect with a brother on the ground who was able to facilitate hotel accommodations, find us some vegan food and all these different things, brother, that we were able to do. We knew that we made the right decision, because again, our only objective was to see what was going on with our people. Instead of pontificating across the water, saying what they need, saying what's actually going on, we knew we had to do our on-ground investigation. We wasn't going to leave it up to somebody else to write the narrative for us, nor were we going to try to, have conversations with our brothers and sisters over here, telling them what we think is going on based on secondhand conversation, instead of actually going on the ground and getting the truth as it is and recording the truth so that we can bring it back to our brothers and sisters over here. And so that was the gist of how we got into Israel. Prince, you want to go ahead and take it from there? Anything you want to add before we keep going?
No, sir. I'm just a glorified guest, man. I'm enjoying the show. I'm enjoying sa.neter.
Yes,
he's
sir.
professional at what he does, and then I'm just reliving the trip all over again. So man, we good to go. Let's continue forward.
Okay. Well, let me say this before you put your phone, your microphone back on mute, brother. I have to say this because there's a. Okay, maybe the wind put it on mute, but be ready to come back off. There's a great misconception about those lands, and you're going to hear us talk about these Edenic lands, what the world knows as the Levant, Israel, Palestine, however you want to, name it, Jordan, Iraq, Lebanon, Syria, those particular regions we call Northeast Africa based on the tectonic plates and the fauna and the flora. But how do we know that that's black lands? Because the people who live there. Now, Jordan is what is considered a Hashemite kingdom, meaning that they were by the British government after World War I, after the fall of the Ottoman Empire, established a pretty much Arabian monarch in place of that region over there. It was a couple of them, but he was the only one that sustained himself. That's the King Abdullah in Jordan. They have a more European phenotype. So people think that the people of that land all look like them because it's beneficial to Western narrative to promulgate that type of energy and that type of image. But when we got to travel, don't get me wrong, when you get to Amman, you see white Arab looking people. But when you travel into the valley of Jordan, when you travel into the interior of Jordan, brother, you see nothing but brothers and sisters that look like you and I. We kept stopping and say, hold on. These brothers like they from the south side of Atlanta, the south side of Chicago, look like they're from Harlem, New York, brother. We got photos and we got pictures and we'll show you. And we were already familiar with that being in Israel, but myself and Yorad never experienced in those other regions. And so we not really thinking about it, but we fall victim to the narrative as well. But it's so important, brothers and sisters, if you can, yes, read, but travel as well, because in traveling and being able to visit these places, you unlock the truth in ways that you wouldn't be able to otherwise. And so while we're traveling this land, we had to get out and we asked our interpreter to ask him, man, how long have y'all been there? Since forever, since as long as we can remember. So you're saying like you didn't come here from a couple hundred years ago from this part of Africa or that part of, we've been here as long as we can remember. And I said, wow, it all makes sense. There has been a confederacy, and the scripture says to make sure that the name of Israel be no longer remembered. And I use that as an analogy for what I'm initially saying, that no matter where we've been on the planet, whenever they find some value in particular regions and they want to repaint the narrative, the first thing they do, brother sa.neter, is erase the history and the true people of that land. That's the first thing they do. And why is that important? Because now it convinces us and conditions us that we don't have no reason to have a connection to that land. Because if you think all people over there are white, you're like, what the hell I care about Israel for? So when you see the Palestinian Israeli debacle in the war, you're dissuaded from even putting any care into it because all you see is Europeans. And we're saying, no, not only are your brothers and sisters that came from America, that were born and were affected by chattel slavery in the antebellum South, been in that land for nearly 60 years, we got brothers and sisters that's been in that land since time immemorial who are friendly to us. Them brothers and sisters treat us like royalty. Say, you are brothers, you are sisters. That's how they have treated us and interacted with us. And we witnessed that firsthand when we was in Jordan. And I just want to say that before we continue on, we show some of the videos. That was such an important aspect of our trip because, again, we were looking for verifiers. We were looking for things that allowed us to make sure that we were on the right path. It's like when you traveling from New York to Chicago, you may know that route, from the back of your hand, but you like to see those signs that say Chicago 30 miles away, you know what I mean? And so these signifiers, as it relates to our interaction with the people, these melanated people being so abundantly present in that land, but also being so accommodating, it meant the world to us. And we knew we had made the right decision in that moment, and we had made the right decision as a people.
Right. So being that you're talking about Jordan, let me play this quick little clip right quick, and we can go in on that.
Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum, shalom, shalom, peace and blessings. We're here in southern Jordan on the border of Israel.
And see, we had to take a quick second to just let you know the reality of the people on the land. Now, we've traveled all throughout Jordan, and we have proven fact, and you will see the photos, that black people are everywhere on this planet, including here. Brother that we took a picture, it said, "How long have you been here?" He said, "As long as he can remember." Proving with the fact that
Oh, wow.
wherever we
Hold
go,
up,
we
man.
gonna
Hold up.
find
You
our
look
people.
like Eric B
So
right there
again,
for a minute.
when we left Israel, we left
I'm
for
telling you,
Israel
brother.
57 years ago. We came back home to prove that black people were original to this land. We've proven that fact not just with our work, but with
I
our
meant to
travels.
say
'Cause
Rakim.
everywhere we go,
I meant to
we
say
see each other and
Rakim.
we see ourselves.
God
So
damn. Hold on, man. Yeah, right there. Look like Rakim a little bit, man. Oh, hell yeah. Our people all over,
just
bro.
let you know
They
the
all over,
reality
brother.
of the people on the land. Now, we've traveled all throughout Jordan, and we have proven fact, and you will see the photos, that black people are everywhere on this planet, including here. Brother that we took a picture, it said, "How long have you been here?" He said, "As long as he can remember." Proving with the fact that wherever we go, we're gonna find our people. So again, when we left Israel, we left for Israel 57 years ago. We came back home to prove that black people were original to this land. We've proven that fact not just with our work, but with our travels, because everywhere we go, we see each other and we see ourselves. So again, remember, this is your land too. Peace.
All right. So,
Yes, sir.
in Jordan, I haven't seen any buildings.
Mhm.
How is it? Like, do it got a city in Jordan?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The two major metropolitan areas is Amman, which is the city we flew into. That looks like what, Atlanta, brother, New York. I mean, something of that. Maybe not as elaborate as New York, but more like Atlanta, Houston,
Mhm.
something like that. Beautiful city. I mean, very beautiful, very modern, and it has this is more a classic historical aspect to it as well. That kind of reminds you more of those old cobblestone roads, but I mean the infrastructure is absolutely beautiful. And then Aqaba, which is in the southern part of Jordan, which also borders an Israeli city called Eilat. And there's another airport down there. It's another major city. And it's the same thing. When we drove, leaving Aqaba, we seen the bright lights and everything. And so Jordan is and let me say this, the Jordan currency was worth more than the US dollar. We lost so much money trying to transfer over our little dollars to try to accommodate ourselves during our trip because it wasn't worth anything. Because as a people, they have their natural resources, oil and all that stuff, but they've been able to keep their economy intact to a point where their currency has significant value. And so they weren't like, "Oh, y'all got dollars that ain't really worth nothing here." Their dinar was significantly more tangible as it relates to having purchasing power. And so I'm just saying that the world is bigger than what we know. I ain't advocating for people to live in Jordan by no stretch of the imagination, but I'm saying we have to expand our horizon. And I'll say this too, because I was listening to the video about the importance of knowing that we're everywhere. We talking about, this conversation is ultimately about power. When we talk about black power, and I know that's something you preach often, continuously, brother, you got to have resources. And having resources isn't just, cash, isn't just monetary capital, but it's having natural resources, having land, it's having things that grow on the earth that you can use to build your civilization and your nation. And us in Black America, we don't control the resources over here, like we should, and for a number of reasons why. So how do we gain resources? We develop alliances and friendships with our brothers and sisters who live in different parts of the world that do have these, and we bring our intellectual resource, we bring our cultural resource, we bring our ability to know the enemy in the most intimate way and how to protect them from being corrupted by the enemy or taken advantage of. And I'm telling you, brother, when we come with that type of compassion, that type of love, that type of vision, they'll willingly trade and give us what we need to help build ourselves up and sustain ourselves. And that's why it's so important that, and it's not a responsibility for everybody, but those of us who are conscious enough, aware enough, and have the skill set, that we go and make these friendships with our people all over the globe so that we're able to have access to the abundant resources that are made available for us. Yo, you got something?
Not other than just the fact that we have to remember that prior to even when we're speaking of the Ottoman Empire, all of these particular times of history and civilization, at the root still, when you go back to these lands, it was African people from the continent of Africa who had already spread around the world. That's just something we have to realistically come to terms with. So, in the comment section, I'm looking and I love, being able to interact with our people and have these types of dialogues. But that's something that we have to really understand and realize, and not just think because of what we see today in specific lands that that's how it has been. It's just not. Jordan is one of those places. Israel is one of those places, and that whole particular region is what we are referring to on this particular topic. So I just wanted to comment saying that first, and we can go ahead. Let's keep diving.
Oh, yes, sir. I didn't even see the comments. Again, brothers and sisters, our position, and you can take it however you want it, but we're operating, one, from the premise of how do we contribute positively to our people collectively here in America, throughout the world. That's first. And so we're not going to come in with any information that is degrading or destructive to Black people. Second, we're talking about experience. This isn't our conjecture. I read voraciously, you know what I mean? But as much as I read, I couldn't nearly read enough to be competent enough to speak what I'm speaking. It has to come from lived experience. And so our travels qualify us in a way that gives us a certain level of confidence when we speak. Now, again, we're going to take a period for answering questions, and we're going to have dialogue. I just ask out of respect, not for me, but for yourself and for the other listeners, that you come in truth and you come in good faith. You know what I mean? We ain't just having a conversation again, and we understand we're going to get some pushback because what we're saying is different. You're supposed to. But at the same token, we're having a conversation about how do we improve our people? How do we gain collective power where we go on the planet? How do we build alliances that strengthen us and then allow us to have the ability to control our destiny? That's the conversation we're having. If you're not operating from that premise, there ain't nothing else really we can talk about. You see what I'm saying? And so that's the initiative that we're coming forth with.
Is it all right if I show another clip?
Please.
Okay. Let me share another clip right quick. Okay, let's get this one here.
Whoa. 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 As the whole world watched in horror and witnessed the horrific damage caused by the ballistic missiles hitting Dimona and Arad, Israel, we, the sons of the kingdom, knew we had to do something. So we chose to travel to Israel and conduct a spiritual investigation of our own. Most believed that our report would be that of doom and gloom. However, upon arriving in Israel, we observed something greater. What we would come to behold was the resilience of a people who had spent the last 60 years perfecting love, trust, unity, entrepreneurship, and most importantly, living under the laws of the Holy One of Israel. Although the physical damage leveled buildings, the spirit and energy of the people were high enough to reach the heavens. Verified by the continuous utterances, we're all secure here, and that we're here in this land, well, I'll let you hear it for yourself.
The suffering that goes along with that. We are there forever. We will never leave that land.
All right, brother, talk to us about that, man. How far were y'all from the bombers, the actual bombs that been going in?
Yes, sir. So there was two different cities that were depicted there. The first one was Dimona, which the actual missile that we were investigating that site was a roughly 300 meters away from our village. So you do the math, not even a city block away.
Wow.
And so the trajectory of the missile I opened up with it, that clip. It seemed as it was coming directly towards our compound. It didn't. And it ended up hitting another area. Again, no lives were lost at all in Dimona. Everybody was in the bomb shelters, but it left severe damage, as you've seen. You know what I mean? Right. It was completely leveled. But we were affected. I mean, the aftermath of the bomb, the effects blew out windows, brought in ceilings and destroyed a lot of infrastructure. And it was the first time, again, in our nearly 60 years of being in Israel, that we've experienced such a catastrophic event, especially so close to our actual community. And again, that's what propelled us to move into action the way we did, because we understood that though we had been living in that land through the Gulf War and other conflicts, that this one was extremely different, again, because it was so close to home and because the damage was so severe and catastrophic. And more than ever, our leaders that had been guiding us, up until this point, weren't physically on the scene. Our spiritual leader has made transition. My father, Nasisha, all these other great men are gone. And so it's easy to kind of take a step back and say, well, why are we here? And, this ain't maybe what we should be doing. And, you start to hear the dissenting voices that say, well, y'all just some niggas that was following white people over to Israel. Y'all stupid for going over there. It's like, and let me speak to that, if I may, Brother sa.neter. Mm-hmm. And I know that's not everybody's opinion, and those sometimes that are most off-putting are the loudest. And you tend to hear what's the ugliest more clear than others more accommodating, more beautiful. But let me speak to that. We have to. And I'm saying only from the standpoint, if we really want to advance ourselves as a people, because that's my whole position, we have to move past the small thinking that whenever Black people make a decision to determine their own destiny, even if it is out of the orthodoxy that we're accustomed to, that we are so small-minded that the only reason we do something is because we want to be close to white people, or that we're so silly and we're so naive that we'll just do anything to try to fit in or to assume somebody else's identity. When we left America, we were facing the realities of Jim Crow, segregation, the continuous riots and raiding and police brutality of the 50s and the 60s. We were facing all these things as Black people. And as a Black people that were governed by spirituality in the Bible, we said, okay, maybe. And that's what it started off as a question. If we're to follow the scripture, if we're to believe in the scripture, let's live the scripture. Let's return back to the land that we say that is prophetically ours. And we made that decision to do so. But don't think that though that was a people that were trying to be Israeli, trying to be Jewish, or trying to be in proximity to white people. We were a people that were deciding our own destiny. And when we got to Israel, for the first 20 years, sa.neter, we were considered persona non grata, meaning all intent and purposes, leave them alone. We had no access to public services, meaning that we could not go to the doctor. We could not get gainful employment. We could not go to the educational systems. We could not do anything that any basic, decent people can do to suffice themselves. We didn't go over there looking for charity. We didn't go over there looking for handouts. We went over there to just be in the land that scripturally had been promised to us, and to be a people that could finally know peace. We were destroyed from 400 years of being in America and facing the worst, most inhumane conditions any people in recorded history had been faced with. And so we decided to determine our own reality. And guess what? When we got to Israel, that racist face showed itself in the Israelis. And look how we responded. Since we could not go to their schools, we built our own schools, brother. Since we could not go to their grocery stores, we developed our own divine agriculture that allowed us to grow fruits and vegetables in the desert. This is science that we will be able to implement. Since we could not go to their hospitals, we did two things. One, we created our own birthing centers because we were having children. So we had natural births, which actually was a blessing because now we weren't in their hospitals being shot up with chemicals and different agents of destruction that we are been given in the form of vaccines. We also said we need to improve our diet so we don't even have to go to that hospital. So we took on the plant-based way of life, a holistic health diet that incorporated whole, real foods, fruits, vegetables, legumes. And so now we had reversed all of the comorbidities that we were suffering here in America: hypertension, high blood pressure, diabetes, on and on and on. Look at a people using their mind. Is that like stupid niggas just following white people? Or they're like a people that had the ability to determine their own future. You don't have to believe as we do. You don't have to identify as a Hebrew. You don't have to do none of those things. But what we're saying is learn from what we have been able to do. Learn from what we've been able to do. Circumstance and condition made us rely and depend on one another. But in doing so, we were able to empower ourselves, and we created a template that our people, irrespective to where they found, can be implemented. We did for self, like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, like Dr. Khalid Muhammad said, like John Henry Clark said, all of these great leaders that we uplift, Dr. Amos Wilson, all these great men, and they should be uplifted, but we put it into practice. We made it tangible. And so we're not going to hide our light under a bushel basket because some people feel uncomfortable about our political or spiritual posture. No, we're going to say we did something, brothers and sisters, and we still doing it, and we still perfecting it. Because in 60 years, listen, the first 50, 60 years of white people being in America, what was they doing? They were eating each other because they were starving to death. You get what I'm saying? And that was without the adversarial forces of a white supremacist government on both sides of the world seeking to destroy and undermine everything we do. But look what we was able to do against all odds, because the whole time you had Mossad, you had CIA, you had other intelligence, Interpol, seeking to undermine what we were doing. And what made it more powerful, brother, and I'll close on this point. My father, Prince Isaiah, as I spoke of earlier, was the international ambassador. He knew we needed alliance and friendship. That's why I'm so big on that. And so not only did he come back and forth to America to develop the relationships, not just with those in elected official offices, but those in spiritual grassroots organizations. And he continuously gave back. That's why we built restaurants and all these things. You came to his homegoing service. You've seen how respected we are in the community. We never left America either. You see what I'm saying? When we was out there in the restaurant, our restaurant is in the hood. And what did those brothers say when they pulled up? Oh, y'all good. Don't worry. Y'all with Prince and them. This table. We ain't going to touch y'all. Did that not happen, brother?
That's so, right. Yes, sir.
We're not Negroes that ain't like right. Hating self. We love self to the point that we go all over the planet seeking to help our people. But back to my
brother, I knew I could trust you, man. When especially when I came over there and the Nation of Islam, yes, Mars Marion was closed.
Yes, sir.
They practically, when they seen you, they opened it up for you to come in. Yes, and sir. You brought us in as a guest, and we saw private tour. Private tour, right. It was beautiful, man. It was beautiful. And coming into your home for the first time, going into your house, and the good food, man, I got to say, that was good food your wife made, man. Vegan. It was vegan, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, that was awesome. I was like, damn, I ain't taste no vegan food like this before. Yeah. You know?
Sir.
Yeah, yes, so sir. I mean, that was awesome. That was excellent.
Thank you,
I love
I'm glad you say that. I'm glad you said that because it gives credence to the point that I'm making. We're real people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We're not no plants, no aid. We're real people. You met my father, my mother, my children. You've seen every aspect of me. If I was other than self, you would have seen it from the very beginning. Mm-hmm. I personally made sure that you came in our home and you seen every aspect so you can know this brother is real. This brother's legit. You couldn't get into the mosque unless we're really in the community. At that time, it was during COVID. Let me just add that real quick, where members of the nation could not get into the mosque. You know what I'm saying? Right. But because of the love and the respect and the actual work that we've been doing generationally, starting with my father, starting with my parents, and then passed on to my generation, and I'm continuing that level of respect and admiration. And then once they knew it was you, sa.neter, it was a no-brainer. You know, everybody love and respect you. But my father went all throughout Africa, developing relationships with heads of states. 1973 in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, Julius Nyerere, who was the president, they had the Sixth Pan-African Conference. That is so significant because the original first 3 Pan-African Conference was not held in Africa because there were no free independent African nations. So they were held in France and England. But by the time liberation started to happen on the African continent, the black man had regained himself in the black body, they started to see the importance of organization, because they understood the Berlin Conference was a confederacy of European nations seeking to destroy, and to a degree did destroy, the African people globally. And so to defend ourselves, and then also to get black power, that we ourselves would have to create our own confederacy of black people uniting amongst one another. But there, he was the only black from America that had actual active status, because based on what we had done up in Israel, up just 4 years at that point, had qualified us to be an independent nation. We didn't go to the Sixth Pan-African Conference in Tanzania saying that we're black Jews, we're blacks from Israel. You see what I'm saying? We came and said we're the African Hebrew Israelite nation, the original Hebrew stationed in Jerusalem. Right. We never seen ourselves as a part of the larger structure of Israeli society. We always seen ourselves set apart. And you're saying, well, that's somebody else's land. Yeah, it was somebody else's land before they took it. And it was somebody else's land before they took it. And you go back enough, guess what you're going to see? You're going to see us. All of this was our land before they took it. Yep. So if we don't start to reclaim what's ours, it'll never be ours again, because you only own that which you can defend. And if you cannot defend what you own, not just militarily, but spiritually, intellectually, culturally, then you don't own it. And so that's what we're in Israel doing, but that's what we're all over the planet doing. And that's what set us apart. And so that video that you've seen encompasses all of that. It's a people who, again, took the ability to determine their own reality. Right. So even when Israeli government came with certain concessions, going back to 1992, where it seemed like they was giving us some type of leeway to let us in because we had become too powerful as an independent entity. And so they tried to absorb us as a strategic way to decimate our culture into Israeli society. We still had another 10 years of limbo. We still had other things. And we still, up until this point, have been in a protracted battle with the Israeli government for our sovereignty. You're going to have struggle. That's part of it. So we're not saying that things didn't go without problems. But guess what, brother sa.neter? Guess what, listening audience? That you can't be a nation without struggle. And you can't be a great nation or a great people without epic struggle, because it's the ability to overcome obstacles and impediments that makes you great, not the absence of.
And to go back, harken back on the mighty Hebrew, you know how long he been trying to get me to come out there, and I've been fighting with him. Oh, brother, I ain't going out there Chicago crazy, brother. And sa.neter, I'm telling you, man, the Prince Asiel want to meet you. You got to come out. Man, me and him used to go back and forth all the time. And I finally just gave up. I said, brother, you win, brother. I'm going out there. I'm coming to see what's great about Prince Asiel and the whole thing was going on. And I'm just happy that I did go. I'm happy that I get to meet you, your family, and some of the beautiful brothers that was there, like the brother you got right here on the panel. Yes. Yeah. How's your restaurant doing, brother?
It's doing good, brother.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's doing good. We have 2 of them in Chicago, and it's doing well.
All right, you branching out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
it's actually
man.
The second location is across the street from Mas Mariam, so it's in
Next time you send for me, I'm coming to see you, brother. I'm coming out there, brother.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
I got to wait. I'll be out there, man.
Yes, sir. Yes,
you gotta
sir.
come
Very
back
soon.
to brothers, man. Yeah.
Brother, you all right? You got anything before we go further?
Yeah, no, I think you did a beautiful job, expressing the realities. And again, I just kind of keep an eye on the comments, because I love, to see the different thoughts. And I know, we'll get to them, but I just seen some very interesting aspects and some legitimate questions. And
yeah, we're gonna open up. We're gonna open up.
I already know. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
perfect.
Let me share this. Go ahead, finish, brother. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Let me share this last video right quick, and then we can talk about it and open up.
Peace and blessings. Shalom, shalom. We're here in Iraq at the site where the missile hit in Israel. And I want to take this time to really talk to my brothers and sisters in America. You know, we traveled over here 7,000 miles, even though this is our home. We wanted to travel and be here even in the time of war because we wanted to get a on-the-ground assessment. But more importantly, we wanted to come back and bring the report and actual footage so that we can show our brothers and sisters what is right at our doorsteps in America. I know a lot of times we look at what happened in the Middle East, what's happening in Israel, other parts of the world, and we think it's confined to those parts. But America is very much involved in this war. Matter of fact, they're one of the great agitators of this war. So again, they're in it. So these things can happen and most likely will happen in America as well. So this can be our environment. That's why we're saying it has to be a new mind. It has to be a new way of thought. It has to be a new man and woman on the scene so that peace can prosper and lies and deception and war can finally be removed from the planet. That's what we represent. That's what we stand for. And we call it for all our brothers and sisters, wherever you found, but in particular, our black brothers and sisters in America, to understand the importance of what we came to Israel to do and why we chose this route, not just for Hebrew Israelites, for all of God's people who's searching to actually live on a planet that is filled with peace and prosperity. Shalom, shalom.
All right. You want to add on to that?
Yes, sir. That video was important for me to make for a couple of reasons, but I'll just discuss one or two briefly. First is there's a great misnomer that the catastrophe that we see currently happening in the Middle East, what's now considered the Middle East, places like Israel and other places in the world, is confined to just those locations. I think we've gotten comfortable, especially as black people in America, and I don't know how, because again, nobody has faced what we've faced in the annals of history, the savagery, the murder. I mean, we're talking about even the MOVE organization where a bomb was dropped in an actual city in America, domestically on the people and the inhabitants of a city in Philadelphia. So when we look at what's going on, we say, well, that's just over there. That ain't gonna happen over here. We protect it over here. And it's like, well, I don't know. More than likely not. We're talking about a country that has been in war since existence, whether it be intercontinental wars, whether it be civil wars, whether it be world wars, right? And obviously a lot of proxy wars. It's only a matter of time before people get to the point where they're not fearing America like they once have. And it seems that we're at that point. But it also gets to the point where you have such megalomaniacs, some like we have in office now, who have no regard, no sense of civility for human life, that even though these are murderous people, they still have a certain limit that they're willing to go or not go to. And it seems that that has been blurred severely. And so what I'm saying is preparation that has to be made. So it's a couple things that we need to do. If we know that these things are possible, we start to orient our thinking and our actions relative to that. And I want, as a course of redress, to deal with these current realities for our people to be prepared, to not look at something as if it can happen till it happens, and then we're trying to always respond instead of being proactive. And it's one thing that what has happened in Israel, especially as it relates to our people, is that these things are ever present if you're not in control of your environment, if you're not in control of these particular situations of your government. And so I see in the comments, like, how you gonna fight a bomb? It's like, well, by that standard, you can't fight a bomb. I mean, they can drop a nuclear bomb at any moment. I mean, that's nonsensical, but that's not the point we're making. We're saying is, if we galvanize amongst one another, if we pursue power, you know, and the collective energy that power produces, now we're the ones that's controlling. We're the ones that's dictating what happens and what doesn't happen. We have the ability to be the intermediaries and intercede when certain conflicts and debacles are happening, instead of leaving it into America, to Britain, to Israel, to these people that we know don't have the best interests of their own people, let alone our people. Instead of subjecting ourselves to the whims of our enemy, we now have taken a position of power. That's what I'm saying. It's time for those who are righteously oriented, who really want to live in a peaceful world, who want to bring some type of civility back to this planet, take charge. But we can't do that in isolation. We can't do that bickering. We can't do that having frivolous conversations. We can only do it with strategy, organization, and a level of continuity amongst one another, that irrespective to our perceived differences, we're able to unify on that which matters most. Me and you fighting with sticks, and a guy come out with a machine gun, and we ignore him, we keep fighting each other instead of strategizing. Okay, we need to take him out, especially since he's aiming at both of us. Me and you ain't the problem. That's the problem over there, right? And we seem to almost never relinquish that thought that no matter what the enemy does, our open, consistent enemy, we still find problem with one another. And I'm saying, hey, again, we ain't gonna always agree on everything, but one thing's for sure, this world is falling, I mean, at a rapid pace, and we can either not do anything and leave our children and future generations up to complete slaughter, or we can take a stance. You know what I'm saying? We can learn from those who preceded us. We can take from those great men and women who have sacrificed, and we can make the necessary changes and implement the strategy. And that's what we represented as a people. That was the collective aim, to bring in a new form of thought, a new world, a new idea. That was the whole premise on us going to Israel, that we would determine our future. It wasn't because we were trying to be like anybody else. When we first got to Israel, I'll close on this point, Brother sa.neter, we were offered citizenship, and we could talk about this, and we were offered these different things. But this is the caveat. You can't say that you're the real Hebrews or that you're the original inhabitants of this land, that black people actually live all throughout this land, going against the false narrative that this is European lands. And then you can't in any way or form or fashion speak against the current governmental establishment. We said no to that. Why? Because that was the same type of slavery and the same type of muzzle that had been put on us throughout our existence of captivity. And so we said, no, we determine our own reality. We're going to speak truth to power, and we're going to fight lies and deception at every corner. And so that was the premise of that video, brother. I know I added some more to it, some other layers, but essentially it was to show the distinction of what we believe is isolated to one area versus what actually can happen at our front door.
All right. Thank you, my brother, Prince Yosef. Brother Suntan, turn on your camera, brother. Brother Suntan, you have a question for the brother?
Yeah, peace to both of the brothers. Peace to
brother.
my brother side. I'm a little confused, brothers, because let me see, a few years ago, when this war really got enlightened to the people, I was like telling the Israelites over here, because I'm really confused. I'm like, dude, if y'all supposed to be under the flag of Israel and things like that, why do y'all stand with the with Israel when they bombing and doing all of this stuff going over there? Why y'all not over there with them? And the first thing that the Israelites over here was saying, that ain't our war. We not them. That's not our people. So that's where my confusion come in at. And me just talking to you and the brother there, who are the real adversaries? Are y'all fighting the Palestinians? Or, I mean, who is the real, what is this thing all about? Because I'm really confused. You can go on and answer, because it's really got me baffled. I wanted to know why the Israelites over here didn't concern themselves with what was going under there, standing under that flag of Israel. They said they're separate. So what do you say to that?
Yes, sir. Brother Sultan is your name, man?
Suntan.
Suntan. Suntan. It's a pleasure, brother. Let me first say
yeah, peace to you, brother.
Peace to you, brother.
And great work you're doing over there from what I see.
Thank you, brother. Thank
you. A lot
of
courage.
Much. Thank you, brother. It means the world to us. Let me first say this, and it's a cheap expression, but it's most appropriate. All Israelites are not a monolith. And I know we hear that when we say black people, and I don't really like that term, but the reality is we all got our own different perspectives, our own ideologies, our own approaches. I'm not here to castigate any particular organization. Right. I respect any black people that determines or seeks to determine their own future, however that may be. You know, even if it's some disagreements ideologically, these are my brothers, and I respect them and I honor them in their work to try to do right for themselves and for their people. Let me say that. When you say the adversary, we have to make it. My father used to say there's a distinction between political Zionism and spiritual Zionism. that was what he used to say in the 70s. I mean, that term has been perverted to such a degree it's almost impossible to use that now, but I'm going to kind of use it as a reference point. When we say Israel, there is a certain aspect that the land should be protected, but we are not tied to the political apparatus in the government of Israel, no more than we here in Black America tied to the political apparatus of America, right? And I mean that not that we don't have people that participate in government and, you know, a part of the institutions. What I'm saying is that we know that the foundation of America was built on us being in perpetual servitude. You know, it was built on our backs. It was built on our blood. It was built on our slavery. It was built on our toil. Israel, the state that's currently established in 1948, was built on the same lies and deception. It was built on murder. It was built on corruption. It was built on terrorism. The IDF were a coalition of different terrorist groups that before the state got established existed to bring in the necessary change that they felt would qualify them for being a people by any means necessary. So we don't stand necessarily under the flag of Israel per se from a political standpoint. We are a people set apart. And that's why I want to keep reiterating that. We're not pro-Palestinian. We're not against the Palestinian. Let me say this. We are against any time of people are being murdered in mass the way that we see them being murdered. We're not against that. I mean, we're absolutely against that, but we're not pro-Palestinian, you know what I mean? Because we also understand that they're not necessarily our friends either. You get what I'm saying? They don't have our best interests in mind either. They got their own agenda and their own objective. And so we got to do for self. And so our premise was we're going to kind of get out of the way of what they got going on and unite amongst ourselves and make sure that we stay focused on what our objective is. We came to that land to be set apart. We came to be a people unto ourselves. We said that we believed in scripture. We believed in the God of Israel. We believed in the prophets of old, and we wanted to bring forth the kingdom that was promised to us, using that as a starting point. But we also, and that's why I said that we worked throughout Africa, because we're taught that that whole continent belongs to us. You know what I'm saying? We talk about the Edenic lands. So from South Africa to East Africa to West Africa, we incorporate that whole place as being our land and as holy lands. But the center and the capital is Israel. And again, we didn't want to be hypocrites saying that we believed in scripture, but we were unwilling to go back and set our foot on the land that we say we believed in. Yorise, anything you want to add to that?
Beautiful response.
You,
Yeah, no, not at all. Just wanted to say greetings to the brother. And I guess the only thing that just came to me as I was speaking, just like if you talk to somebody who may practice Islam, a Sunni doesn't see it the same way a Shia does. And so you're going to have different interpretations within the Israelite world, within the Hebraic world, in different ways that we view this. And also, as my brother stated, the state of Israel, even amongst its own self, is very much divided politically, even amongst the Europeans who are, rule over the particular state at this particular time. It is very much divided. And there are a lot of even the more, you could say, some of the Orthodox spiritual Jews that you may see who are very much against the policies of the state of Israel as well. So this thing gets a little complicated when it comes to that. That's why we're not so quick to respond to those who are speaking again from a premise of already knowing. This takes some spiritual investigation and some, intelligence to kind of sort through. That's what I'm saying.
Yo, who that? That's you, Prince, back there?
no, that's not me.
No, not you. Not you.
That's mighty. That's Hebrew.
And then, Mighty Hebrew.
That's not me. I'm on mute.
That's not him.
I thought there was a pause. That might be me. There was a pause. I was moving my chair. Yeah, that's how he was moving his chair.
All right. We got it. Go ahead, my brother. You finished? Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay.
Right. This is the last thing I wanted to say. Okay, and this real quick. While y'all have and I'm not making no assertions, the same narrative as Ben Netanyahu, who that character there, you saying that you set apart from him, but it's sort of like the same narrative because he's preaching that he'd want their land back that was promised to them through through heritage or something like that. So that's why they're trying to run the Palestinians out. And I was just wondering, you just made it clear that y'all not under the same, narrative. I mean, the same flag that he is under, but it's sort of the same thing. Y'all want y'all piece of land. And my last question is, I didn't know it was so many, when you say the Hebrews, it's just out them pictures I've been seeing, that was like a neighborhood of us. With the guys that you was talking to, it was like black people. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like a neighborhood of fair-skinned Hebrews or nothing. I just seen a neighborhood of, not that matters, but it kind of really does when you create a narrative. So I seen most of us over there who you guys was really, helping out. You know what I'm saying? When
Absolutely.
I say us, I just mean our color and phenotype. That's what I saw from them videos.
You made a great point, brother. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I apologize.
No, you go ahead because, you guys are straightening me out because I was really thinking, when I thought of Israel, my brothers, both of y'all too, when I think of Israel, because I was brought up as a Christian and so forth, but I'm not, I'm just what I am now. My religion is just being good. But when when y'all when I seen what I saw y'all doing over there, I think it's great. But I just when I think of Israel, I think of God and good and love. And then I look over there and they boom, boom, boom. I'm like, dang. So that would just kind of threw me off. But I did see you got and you said it. Y'all not the ones with the big old guns and all of this sort of stuff that's really doing it. So, it's a complicated thing from the outside looking in, but you can go on and finish your point because I think what y'all doing is great. You clarified in my mind about the people how y'all split away. Y'all not all the same as Benny said who Yahoo, whatever his name is. I think he kind of off, but that's just my opinion. So you can finish.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you, sa.neter. Let me move on over to my brother Apostle, big brother Apostle. Go ahead, man. Apostle, you got any questions?
Nah, but I do like to say salam to my brother. Shalom. I don't think I really got a chance to speak with him. I think I spoke with your father once or twice. And we had an understanding that as far as the move to over there.
Demona.
Yeah, about that move over there, I thought perhaps, like it says in Ezekiel, we should have waited until the return of the Lord. But he expressed that the Most High moves in us in different ways. And that's true. He can only do what he sees, how the Most High is leading him. And if the Most High is leading him that way and he don't move, well, the Most High is going to judge him on that. The Most High showed me something different, and I should follow that path. Wait until his return. But outside of that, I was just with my doctor on a virtual. So I missed most of your presentation because I was on a virtual with my doctor, which is extremely important also.
Brother,
but I would like to just give my appreciations to the work that y'all doing over there. Mighty Hebrew in the fact that he's moved over there permanently, and I can only honor that. But
No, the mighty Hebrew is in Tanzania.
Well, same thing. It's all over in that direction over there. He's
No, it's not.
closer to them than what we are
True.
over here.
Very true.
Yeah. So, you know, the Lord is not dealing with me to move to Africa. If he was, I would have to do a whole lot of consulting because I just don't see that. I'm doing too good over here right now. But I do understand, but the suntan, I look at Ned and by whatever the dude's name was, I look at him like as Edom, Esau. He's not, I understand you got to say it the way you got to say it, but he's no different than that puppet king that Rome set up. And Rome is still in charge, and Rome still got their puppet. That's
all right. Thank you, Apostle. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, it's good.
Thank you very much, Apostle.
You wanna respond to some of that, Brother Prince?
Yes, sir. I'll go back to the previous statement. If I may, as I want to answer your question, I want to give way to my brother Yori. He has something to share as well. I want to make that distinction when you say that, and I understand, and you're absolutely correct when it sounds like what we're saying, having our own land and, reclaiming that region, under our dominion is similar to that the greater Israel that Benjamin Netanyahu is proclaiming that he wants. But let me make a quick distinction that I think is clear for all of us. We're not talking about colonialism. That's what Benjamin Netanyahu is speaking of. He's talking about creating a white ethno state that is controlled under the guise of Jewish religion, but in actuality, it's just European colonialism. That's what they have done historically throughout the planet. We're not speaking of that. We're talking about being in harmony with the land that we resonate with spiritually, energetically, and physically. Again, but also reclaiming our lands and putting harmony back and bringing peace back to the planet. We're not seeking to dominate anyone. When we came to Israel, we went to the parts where nobody lived and set up shop. Some people would say the worst parts of Israel. Right. And we built what they would consider an oasis in the desert. This is what the Israeli government would have to say 20 years of our existence. The American government, the congressional caucus here, not Black Caucus, the whole congressional house said in, I believe, 1987, 88, they said that we were the miracle in the desert. The reason why I'm saying this is because that's what we're talking about when we're saying reclaiming the land. We're talking about bringing peace back to the planet and bringing harmony and living amongst ourselves. We don't want to be dominated, and we believe that we don't have to dominate anyone else to live free. That's the distinction between us and them. When they came into Israel, they forcibly removed those people that was living there. That's not our intention. That's not our aim. That's not how we function. So that's the distinction I want to make, if that makes sense, brother. We're talking about living in harmony with our people and with the land and with our God. We're not talking about being in opposition, conquering nobody, murdering nobody, and displacing nobody. We've experienced that for 400 plus years. We're not going to contribute to the same thing that we were victim of. We're in opposition to that. So it's not the same. So outwardly, if it's expressed superficially, yeah, it does seem the same. But when you talk about logistically how it's carried out and the strategies and the aims and the histories of two people set apart, then you see the difference. Like, yeah, those are just colonial white Europeans that's seeking to dominate people and dominate land for the material wealth that's found in Israel. We want to live in harmony with it. It's a big difference. Thank you, brother.
All right. You got anything, Ben, you want to deliver? Or you want to add on?
So our brother, the last, not the one who just spoke, but the speaker before him.
Suntan.
Suntan, yes.
Okay.
Brother Suntan. Again, he asked some great questions, and I really see a level of genuine interest of understanding. And that's always beautiful because that's how we, become closer as a people. And he said something very distinct as well, that he said, now my religion is just doing good. And that's literally what we live by. The Creator has no religion. The Creator only understands righteousness. And righteousness is living a particular way that is in alignment with the laws of how this particular planet was set up in harmony. And so, but what I wanted to say is that my brother Yosef just eloquently explained there's a distinct difference. I wanted to kind of add on to that as well. So for those, even in the comments or speaking as relates to, participation in the military, as African Americans participate in the military in the United States still today, where we were dragged to, many of, people who believe that, or people who believe we're indigenous, we still are fighting a lot of causes for a cause that we don't necessarily believe in. For us, there is an agreement, or there is an understanding that I say that we can agree on. The only thing that we probably agree on as far as the state of Israel is that we are defending that land that is sacred to us. That land is sacred to us. Whether you think that that's the land or not, that's all immaterial. That's a different conversation for a different day. But for us, that particular land is sacred, and we will defend that particular land. However, that doesn't mean that we're in agreement with the particular policies that you see playing out today, ideologies, etc. And so that's when you go, and I don't want to get too far in this, but these things are spoken about. You said you come from a Christian, background. When you read, and it says that, those that say that they are Jews, but they are not. They're actually from a synagogue of Satan, right? And a plethora of other verses. It always talks about, it's always a theme in the scriptures that says that the wicked's wealth is stored up for the righteous. And it talks about being restored into that land. And it talks about our enemies, rebuilding the land for us. All of these things is a constant theme throughout the scriptures. So who's to say that all of those things, and maybe their portion was to be that executioner of the blessings that we are to receive? That may be a far-fetched thought for most people to conceive. But as long as that's what we can conceive and we're working towards it, we believe and know and have shown and been faithful to that idea that those prophecies will be fulfilled, and we have and working towards being worthy of that fulfillment. And so that's what our prophetic portion has been. So I want to just kind of express that, to the listening audience and to my brother.
Thank you, brother.
Who phenomenal questions.
Thank you, brother.
Sure.
Seven Asa. Cam up, brother. Cam up so the brothers can see you.
I wish I was, brother, but
Okay.
I'm not able to do so.
All right, go ahead. Ask your question, brother.
Yes, sir. Peace to you, Prince Yosef, and I don't know the other brother's name. I missed the brother's name. What's your name, brother?
You're right.
You're right. Peace to you, family, and peace to everybody on the panel and in the chat. It's good to hear what y'all brothers are doing over there, but you guys are in a tumultuous.
Speaking, I can't hear on my end.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I think Yosef may have to come in and come out. That's what I had to do earlier.
Yeah, Prince, you got to go out and come right back in. Go out, click the link again, come back in.
Yeah.
All right, hold on, Asal, so we can hear your question.
All right.
Yeah, this is what we're talking about.
I got a couple of questions too, because it's interesting in the area that they're in. They've been there for I think I heard him say over 20 years. So
no, well, he was talking not 20 years. He was talking about a situation that happened 20 years ago. We've been there so far 57 years.
Yo, come to the mic. I can't hear you good, brother.
No, close to over 50 years.
Yeah, come to the mic, Mighty Hebrew.
Yeah, over 50 years.
Yes, I was saying that. I was saying when Prince Yosef was speaking about the 20 years ago, it was speaking about a particular event, but we've been in the land for 57 years so far.
Okay. All right.
Okay, he's back.
Yes, he's back.
Okay, that's interesting. You guys been there for 57 years, so you've what have you guys been doing? Have you guys been enveloped in that Palestinian the slaughter and the murder and the imprisonment and have you guys been swept up in that at all of the Palestinian people by the Israeli government?
So
Can you re-ask that question again, if you don't mind, brother?
I know there's not a lot of black Israelites in Israel, right?
Yes, sir. It's true.
So you guys can be confused with some of the Palestinian people, correct?
Well, not necessarily. And the reason why I say that is because if you're familiar with the land, I mean, you have Palestinians or Arabs that live throughout Israel, but they're pretty much in bulk confined to two regions, the Gaza area and the West Bank.
West Bank,
So,
yeah.
Yes, sir. And so
Yeah.
we don't live in those areas.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That explains a lot. So do you guys have to deal with any discrimination with the Israeli people over there? Because I know the government in particular feels that an Israeli citizen is a particular type of person. So have you guys ran into any racism, not just from you guys claiming to be Israel, but also from the point that you guys are from America, Black Americans?
Well, let me say this. Yes, to answer your question, emphatically so. It has shifted. The tactics, just like the enemy has done here in America and throughout the world, the tactics have shifted over time. Overt racism has not been the tactic because it was unsuccessful in the way that they thought it would be initially. So when we first got there, we saw the first person to arrive, first two people was our spiritual leader, His Excellency Ben-Ami, and his right-hand man at the time. His name was Prince Keskiahu. They arrived in Israel in 1968 under the law of return, which said if you have any connection, spiritual or biological, to the land of Israel, and you want to return to live free under the laws, not of the Israeli government, but the laws of Torah, you have the ability to return. So we came in and he got citizenship under the law of return. 1969 is when we as a people started to come. The first family being a brother named Prince Gabriel, which is our spiritual leader's best friend, who's been with him since he was 10 and 12. And then some other families after that leaving out of Liberia, because we spent a year and a half, 2 years in Liberia before we went into Israel after coming out of America in 1967. At the point of 1970, when they started to see more than 100 people return to Israel, Black Americans, they changed the law. I'm just giving a quick little history lesson. And so they now, going against their own biblical established order, said that to identify as a Hebrew or under the laws of Torah, you have to come from a Jewish mother, meaning a white mother. And so that disqualified every one of us, maybe one person, right? But so these were the tactics that they used. And so as they thought that was going to stop us from coming in, but we came in and we came under tourist visas, and some of us stayed in those different things because a lot of us denounced our American citizenship. Why did we do? I just want to give this quick history, because we believed that we wanted to determine our own future. And so we said, we know what America is, but we believe that if we come amongst one another and we return back to the land that we believe that was stationed for us spiritually, that we could determine our own future, and it would be better than living in the white racist governed American cities or in any Israeli city at the time that was trying to deny us. And so a lot of our brothers and sisters came under that vein. So for 20 years, we were cut off from all of the societal norms that a people in a so-called first world civilization should be offered. Basic opportunities to earn an income, basic health care, basic educational care, or the ability to go to their schools or anything like that. So in their denial of allowing us in their institutions, we then built our own institutions. And so again, they had to look and say, okay, keeping them excluded isn't working because they're doing for self. And not only are they doing for self, they're garnering the attention of other Black people and now convincing them that you don't need white people to sustain yourself. And so that's when they came with the tactic of, okay, we'll let you in. We'll give you what's considered permanent residency. Started off as temporary residency, meaning you can have a work visa and you can have a school visa. That was the way to try to indoctrinate. Now, from that, we still had about 10-year quasi period that we still weren't really accepting. It was only a few people. That's when they came, as my brother spoke of earlier, about 2003 with the Army. Okay, if you can enroll your children into the Army, we'll accept you, and you can have the ability to own land and do all these other things. So we did accept it as a government. Now, I want to make this clear. Right or wrong, our leaders made that decision. We're not about to debate that. We can only do what we're going to do now going forward. But I want you to understand, again, we weren't motivated by now being accepted by the white Israeli government. We seen it as a strategy now to be able to buy land, to have access to certain aspects of the Israeli structure that we didn't at first. And so the original deal was they were not to participate in armed combat. They still had to keep their vegan diet. It was so many restrictions that would eventually initially agreed upon that still wasn't like we was just sending our children into the Army. You see what I'm saying? It was concessions that were agreed upon. You get what I'm saying? So it was strategy the whole time. Now, again, we kind of let our guard down, and the enemy is the enemy, and he plays the long game. So over time, things start to change, and the original agreements, as we know, and treaties that were made were not upheld, and now we see the effects of it now. But initially, it was a strategic decision so that we can expand ourselves and have a stronghold. You get what I'm saying? In the land that we had established ourselves in. Yes, sir.
That's awesome, brother. But it seems that you guys are going through the journey you guys are going through, and the mission that you guys are holding on. I mean, there's a lot of trials and tribulations that you all have endured to get through that. Like, I had one of the questions about your transitions to full citizenship. Did you guys have to recircumcise? I know they had made a lot of Ethiopians who wanted to live there in Israel to recircumcise, to prove, I guess, to reprove their Jewish identity. Yeah. Did they force you all to do that?
No, sir. So those who received citizenship, they did it through the vehicle of serving in the IDF, and then it was a pilot program that lasts about 6 to 9 months after your service. If you're a male, 3 years. If you're a female, 2 years. So
the military service.
Yo. Don't cut them off, Seven. Let them complete. Let them finish.
Yes, sir. I'll be very brief. But so the military service was a prerequisite to have quote unquote full citizenship. But the most egregious thing from that was, and it's a form of indoctrination. I'm not saying that it doesn't have its negative effects, but we just had to, like, you pledge allegiance to the flag. We had to do that as a result of our gaining citizenship when we, received our so-called citizenship after going through the 6-month course where you have to learn Israeli history and have to learn their constitution or their form of governance and that type of thing. But we didn't have to do any recircumcision. We didn't have to do none of those things. A lot of people think you had to convert to Judaism. That's not true either. We didn't have to do that either. That was our trek. And if your child went through that process, the parent then had the ability to become a citizenship or have citizenship as well. So that was the process.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'm not trying to debate you or get you in a gotcha moment. I'm just trying to have a back and forth. So I didn't mean to cut you off like I was trying to,
No, sir. I didn't
think you. Yeah. It's just a back and forth. So so it's very powerful because we know right now.
Your last question, brother, and then I got to move around and I could come back to you.
Okay, that's great. Have you guys thought about what have you guys done to help the suffering of the Palestinian people and the injustice that went down with them? You guys have been there for over 50 years, so most of that time that you guys have been there is almost close to the time. I think 20 years. They've been there 20 years before you guys have been there. So have you guys engaged with the Palestinian people in their plight to try to overcome the oppression that's been going on by the Israeli government? Or has you guys' trials and tribulations been such that you were unable to even join in the fight because you were fighting yourselves?
Well, that was a beautiful question. And you're absolutely right. We've been there 2/3 of the existence of the state of Israel. 1948 is when they were established as a state, and we got there in 1968. So to answer your question, as it relates to the Palestinian struggle. Let us, again, and I hate like I'm giving a disclaimer because I know a lot of our people do it, but this is true. And we do not like to see the death, the unlawful, inhumane death and murder and slaughter of any people, in particular children, men, women, and children, right? We're completely and vehemently against that. That is our position wholeheartedly, and we speak out openly against that. But let me be clear, historically speaking, the Arabs and the Palestinians who have more of a European phenotype has been as, I ain't gonna say as detrimental because they don't have the same political power, but they have been as antagonistic as their European Israeli counterparts. Our relationship and our stronghold has always been with the Black Bedouins in the land, those who are ostracized by both Palestinians and Israelis. They don't even spoken of. You have a large contingency of Black Muslim Bedouins who reside in that land, who have to live in their own independent enclave just like we did. So our initial relationships were established with those brothers and sisters, that not only looked like us, but had a similar struggle. Because the thing about racism and white supremacy, even if you're not quote unquote white as the way is identified by Europeans, if you reflect their kind of skin color or phenotype, you take on their mind. It's something they just do all over the planet. So they have been, in some instances, just as adversarial to our independence, our position as Israelis. So we don't have a working relationship with the large populace of Palestinians. And like you said, we had our own struggle as well. So we're not quick to jump in and start, fighting Israelis for them, like we're not quick to start fighting Palestinians for Israelis, right? We have our own position. We speak out against it. We vehemently against what is going on currently. But again, the alliance has been with those who have helped us, traditionally in our time in that land. And that's not to say there hasn't been individuals from both sides, and Palestinians that have been very accommodating and very friendly to us, and we've had working relationships. But because they've been so isolated and because they have taken on a similar position as Israelis as a whole, a lot of them have been, antagonistic and adversarial to us as well.
All right. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Let me go to Genesis, and then I got you next, Mighty Hebrew.
So I have a video I wanted to play, and I wanted to see what you guys.
How long is your video?
It's about. It'll be about 5 seconds.
Oh, okay. Your video is up. Is up.
All right. So I wanted to play this real quick.
In bomb shelters right now, hiding out.
I played some videos when it was over there.
Not a joke.
I played videos where they showed some of that, and it was there.
Yeah. So I wanted to get an idea of how was the
play a video.
Okay, let's play it. Okay, because let me just go a little bit further because I think I'm just talking through it because I was kind of devastated when I saw this kind of happen. And I was like, because I was one of the people that got sent this video. Let's go.
All right, so this is the wreckage of what's been happening. This is the building that's been hit over there. And you can see people are being carted away in wheelchairs and stuff like that.
Is it a video you showing?
The aftermath. Let's see. So this is one of the buildings.
I was showing the aftermath of it, the aftermath of what happened.
Still picture. You just showing a still picture?
No, I'm playing.
Oh
it.
my God.
You don't see it?
No, it's just a still picture.
Oh. It's playing.
It's playing now.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see it.
But Nisi, what we gonna do? It's gonna be full of rats.
Oh shit.
Nisi, what we gonna do? This place is gonna be full of rats.
Let's close the door. Close the door. I don't know.
Oh fuck.
All right, you got a lot of profanity on there.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. Excuse me, but that was the reaction though. But let me just forward a little bit.
What's the purpose?
I wanted to ask them. So I want people to get an idea of what was going on, what actually was happening during this time frame.
Right.
Because I feel like, people probably don't even understand what they've been going through, with this whole Iran situation. So let me just play it real quick. So this has, I mean, I was, look at this. Boom. So you see it stopped those two, but guess what? Boom, didn't stop that one. So it gets kind of really, man, this is not a joke. This is not something to play about or laugh. I just wanted to at least just show what happened. And I wanted to ask, how are you guys recovering from such an attack like this? And do you think that you guys were targeted in particular because of your location close to the plan, or do you think that they knew that you guys were there? That's the part that I find scary, because I was trying to get people to play that, and people didn't even want to play it or show it or whatever when I had gotten the video. But I had that particular video, and I was like, man, why aren't anybody covering this? Why isn't nobody, when it was happening, showing
All
that?
right, let him answer you.
I definitely want to give my brother Prince Uriah a chance to speak as well. I say this, that so the video that you were showing, we showed earlier, portions of that as well. That was the night that the missile hit. In particular, looks like Dimona, but it seems like you also have some footage of Arad as well. Well, we targeted as a particular community, we can't say for sure, but we also know that we're intelligent enough to be aware and to expect anything to be possible as it relates to the adversarial forces who would benefit from us not being in that land no more, even if it's under the guise of a war with someone else. So that's that part of it. But yes, strategically, it would make sense for any adversary to Israel to attack the site that is closest to the nuclear reactor location in Dimona, which we're only a few kilometers away as a community. It seems that wasn't their objective, because they intentionally shot in the vicinity, but was not trying to aim at the actual the site for a scare tactics and purpose. Because if you did that, then I don't see Israel not returning with a nuclear bomb or something. So it was more so to show what we're capable of, but that show of strength has real life consequences, and it being our community and other people in that area that was devastated from that missile. So us as a community in particular, we're very resilient people. And that's one of the things I showed in the video, though it was a lot of emotional, physical, intellectual, disruption in the most genuine sense. Our people are resilient, and our faith was able to allow us to overcome as a community. And it was another reason why us going there was so vitally important. We didn't get to share that part. We reignited the original spirit of resistance, of strength and resilience that our founding fathers established when going to that land, and said, damn the torpedoes, so to speak, that we're going to go and check on the well-being of our people, irregardless to the possible danger that will be caused as a result of that. And so that type of fearlessness, that type of love, that type of genuine concern gave a jump start to our brothers and sisters in the land to understand that, okay, we're still here. We still have our lives, though physical damage was done and emotional damage was caused, right? As you heard the sister, that was a sister from the community who was obviously and rightfully so shaken up from the dramatic situation that had befallen her. But again, with time, with prayer, with continuous conversation, spiritual therapy, we were able to come out of there on the other side stronger and more resilient than ever. And that's the message that we wanted to bring back, because that's who we are as a people, collectively over generations. Again, we've experienced this in one form or fashion in so many different ways, and we're going to continue to, respond in a positive, strengthened way. But we're saying now we just got to be more cognizant of being proactive, and so that we're not always responding, but we have certain things in place that we're able to safeguard ourselves in other attacks such as this. Prince Uriah?
And one other question I wanted to ask.
Please.
Did your other Hebrew Israelites kind of come and work with you guys, or come to the aid of you guys when this whole thing was going down? Or was it like you guys are on an island of your own because you're out there and maybe they have their own movement? Or did you see that people came together? or is this whole Israelite community so separated that no one really cared as far as like the other groups? Like, was this
I
a
would
moment
say,
of oneness, or was it like just oh well?
yeah, I wouldn't say that they don't care. To answer your question, no one physically came to visit us outside of us, in particular myself and my brother. That's what made what we did so dynamic and so unique. But we definitely got calls. We definitely got, different messages with concerning language about how they can help or what's actually going on. Obviously, you got those in a dissenting tone saying that, see, y'all niggas shouldn't have went over there. Excuse the language, but I'm just reiterating what they said. Y'all stupid, that type of stuff. And you get that as well. But for the most part, we didn't expect no one to help unless they knew how to help. And they would not know how to help unless we shared with them what's the best way to help. And let me, since you brought that up, let me say this. I was going to bring this up later. We're not looking for charity. Let me be clear. Not in the sense that we want you to send some money or send this. Like, of course, everybody could use some resources and help in that regard. But we're saying that we want you to know our story, to know our work, so that we can build bonds, alliances, and friendships, so we can have a coalition. That's the greatest form of help that we as a people could have, so that we could have a bi-directional type of relationship where you can help us and we can help you, but we can work in unison to solve all of our problems, not just in the time of war, because we have the intellectual resources, we have the historical understanding, and we have, whether we believe it or not, the material wealth to change our reality. But the thing is, we're so disconnected. And because of that disunity, sometimes it can appear as being disconcerted about what is actually going on, that we are not able to do the things that we know needs to be done. You know what I mean? And so that's the whole premise of this, is showing what, for us, the real help is. And that's us building these relationships, but we can't build them in earnest unless you know who we are and we know who you are. But we want to first start by saying who we are, what we're doing, not just what we did historically, but what we're doing now, and why is it important to share that, with our people at large.
All right. Let me ask my brother Ben, and I'm coming right to you, Mighty Hebrew.
Couple of different things as it relates to what the sister asked. I think that last thing that she was asking in particular is she's probably referring to some of the Israelites that are in the land now that are not necessarily associated with us, and if they came down. So I'm sure individuals have come to Dimona since then that live in Israel now, because there are some different individuals, again, who are not within our particular nation, but who have maybe some alliances with us. So yes, for sure. Now, but I want to make sure that we understand now, as a community and as a nation of people, it's about 3,000 plus of us in Israel, maybe even more. With some of these other Israelite groups, we're talking about groups of sometimes 10, 20, a family or two. So it's really not a significant a nation or organization in Israel as far as numbers is concerned, outside of the African Hebrew Israelites of Jerusalem. So just to kind of give you some insight on what's the reality on the ground. Families, it's a couple families here and there. People may get on YouTube or social media, but our presence is a lot more in that land. It's very spread out, and it's very concentrated, especially in Dimona and cities like Arad. Secondly, as far as kind of dovetailing off my brother and saying, yeah, we're not looking for pity. It's not like a woe is me, oh my God, look at our situation. We were very well aware of what it is and what it was that we were getting ourselves into when we first traveled to the land of Israel. And we understood the trials and tribulations that would come with that. And so what we had to weigh out was, we weighed out something very, very simple. Is, yeah, today it may be us where in Israel, but we are much more afraid of tomorrow when this war actually hits in the land that has not known war in this way. Nobody ever thought that the great Rome would ever fall. Nobody ever thought that Egypt would go down. But when the time comes when the great America goes down, I've not seen it, ears not heard what we may experience. And so we took our best bet and said, hey, we'll endure now so that we can survive tomorrow. That's what this is all about from a prophetic standpoint. And nobody thinks of that until it hits the fan. But when it hits the fan, oftentimes it's going to be too late for a lot of places and a lot of people, especially in this particular land. So we have to really recognize that and don't get too comfortable because you don't see it today. But trust me, there are people working full time to bring this particular land down in a way that you have not seen it.
Right.
And oftentimes it always starts from the inside first. So just be well aware of that.
All right. Ben, do you hear me? Ben, can you hear me?
You know, Sa, your mic is very
Yorai.
muffled. By the way, your mic is
Oh, you saying my mic is messed up?
Oh, okay. Were you able
kind
to
of
hear me?
muffled.
though?
It's muffled sounding. Muffled.
Testing 1 2 1 2. Testing
Sa.neter was speaking to
testing.
you when he said Ben.
Is my mic messed up, y'all?
I can't hear sa.neter for some reason. I can hear everybody else. I can't hear sa.neter.
Oh, you might have to
I
go
can
out.
hear. I can hear sa.neter. He's good. He sounds good.
You might have to go
I
out
haven't
and
been
come
able
back
to hear him in a
in.
while, so I need to let me come off and come back on, Sa, because I can't hear you.
Yep.
Can you hear him now?
No.
Okay. Go out, come back in.
What'd he say?
Go out and come back in.
Okay.
All right. Genesis, you said my mic sound muffled, Genesis?
No, it was just kind of like a lot of bass. That's all.
Yeah,
Probably
you
got-
good now, Si.
Oh, I'm good.
Now.
I'm
It's
good.
better now. Once you turn it down a little bit, maybe it's too high.
I'm all right now.
Now you got it too low.
All right.
Or you got it like now. It's like on deep voice.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna come to let me get my brother back up in here first.
Peace to the mighty Hebrew, man. I ain't saying that to you.
All right. Can you hear me now, brother?
I sure can.
All right. Let me ask you a question, man. I want to ask you a question. Are you brothers Torah Israelites only, or are you King James New Testament at the same time?
Yosef, did you say something? I didn't hear you. Did you say something?
Yeah, he said he had to go out and come back in as well.
Oh, okay. Yes, understood. Okay.
So the question I asked you, are you Torah Israelites only, or are you King James Bible as well?
That's a complicated question because the King James Bible is simply supposed to be a translation of what's in the Torah, written in the Hebrew. So when somebody say they're Torah based only, that means what they're really specifically, or the first 5, you saying the first 5 books, they specifically talk about the instructions. Okay, so the instructions. We are, in that way, you would say we're the whole Bible, the whole scriptures. So, but I'm not going to say King James because King James is not is not the originator of the scriptures. But we look at the scriptures in its fullness, not necessarily just the first 5 books. Those are the instructions for sure. But we look at the wisdom of what King Solomon or King David had to say as well. So we look at the whole book in the entirety in that way. Especially what you would refer to as what quote unquote Old Testament. When you start getting into the New Testament, we look at it in the form of, we observe it like we do any other book, but those are not the tenets nor the word of God in the way that we actually see the scriptures.
What about the Jesus concept? Do y'all follow the Jesus story of the Bible?
So no, when you start speaking of Jesus in relation to the particular question of Jesus, you're getting into Greco-Roman fabrication that have been mixed in with that particular narrative. Now, if you're referring to Yeshua, the Hebrew Messiah, that's a different story. He was a messianic individual and personages, just like King David, just like Ezekiel, and all the other great men of the scriptures. So we definitely listen into and observe the wisdom that comes from that era of time. But as far as putting one particular person on the pedestal and nobody else comes close, no, we don't look at it in that way. We see all the prophets, even to today's time, you know, as individuals who have been anointed by the Creator at that particular time for a particular purpose, and that that we all have the potential to reach certain heights. And so that's how we kind of view it.
Thank you, brother. Good. I want to say something, man. When I went to Chicago and met you brothers, I saw something totally different from, and I know my brother don't like to make himself look like he's better than nobody else. And I speak of you two brothers. Y'all don't try to make yourself seem like you're better than nobody. You know what I'm saying? And that's a good thing. But when I look at you brothers, I tend to, this is me, this is not y'all. I tend to look at you brothers and say, those the real Israelites over there. I see y'all too, and I see your crew and your family and your brothers. I say, those are the real Israelites. Because when you see the other brothers that come up here, they don't have the humbleness, the humility, the which y'all have, the discipline. You know what I'm saying? They don't have that. And if they was to have that, I think people will respect Israel a lot more. And so Israelites all over the world get a bad rap because of the situation with the brothers that claim to be Israelites. And so when they say, when y'all go amongst regular people and you say, yeah, we Hebrew Israelites, people look at y'all like, oh, whoa, oh, that's them Israelites. They don't know it's a total different group out there. You see where y'all understand where I'm coming from?
If I may, Si?
Yes.
You know, you're right. Don't beat me up too much for what I'm about to say.
Right.
But,
yeah, go ahead.
But with Israelites, but we're Black African first. What I mean by that is that
brother,
we don't allow our political, religious, prophetic identification to circumvent our love for our people. So the humility and the respect that you see is because we genuinely love our people and we want to serve our people. We don't have a knowledge that makes us superior over anybody. We have a knowledge that we believe gives us a ability to help and aid first ourselves and our families, but our people at large. And that's our objective more than anything. You know, we want to solve the problem of our people being in the condition that we have been victim of for 400 years. And our spiritual leader says in his second book, God and the Law of Relativity, I'm speaking of Ben-Ami, His Excellency, he said it'll be a day that we won't even call ourselves Hebrews no more. We'll just be the sons and daughters of God, the sons and daughters of truth. That's our objective. And, you know, and so that's how we are oriented, brother, especially those of us who are serious about this work. You know, and so that's why, you know, you see me, I'm Hebrew through and through, but I might leave, what's up? Assalamu alaikum, hotep, you know, whatever language is necessary to reach my brother and sister. You see what I'm saying? And so, you know, I get beat up a little bit because I don't always lead with my Hebraic identity, not because I'm ashamed of it, not because I'm trying to hide it. It's like, I want to reach my people. Let me deal with the reality of their issues first. And then once they see the beauty of what I have to offer, then I can show them what's the source of that. This is my cultural upbringing. This is my practices. You know what I'm saying? This is what keeps me healthy. This is what keeps me sound-minded. This is what keeps me humble. So I talk about the prayer. I talk about the dietary practices. I talk about the cultural norms. But ultimately, again, brother, our whole objective is how do we heal our people? And are we contributing to the building of our nation, of our world, of our ability to change our predicament, or are we taking from, are we destroying? And we don't want to do anything that contributes to the destruction of Black people any further than we have already been destroyed.
I wanna add to that, Sa. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you, brother.
Yeah. First of all, your observation is testament to what it is that we're speaking about right here. The reason why you could observe that was not of our doing, but it was what a Hebrew is in the first place. The word Hebrew, or Ivri, which means one who has crossed over. Crossed over what? From a lower place of existence to a higher place of existence and a higher standard of living for as far as morality. So the testament of it and what we can testify is that our parents came from the Cabrini Green projects on the west side of Chicago. dealing drugs, Detroit, Atlanta, doing everything you could think of in America of what you see in Black American society. But when we left and had faith, we didn't even know where Israel was on the map. We didn't know what we was doing or where we was going. These were people who lived in the projects who had never been outside of their neighborhood, but sold whatever we had because we believed in this. And so when you talking about going into from having modern day luxuries in the 60s and 70s to going into the bushes of Liberia where you didn't even have a penny to go buy a banana, that did something to your spirit. Our spirits was humbled. The only thing that we could call upon was this concept that we called God. And so to see that we went from that to building a community of the largest vegan community in the world, one of the largest holistic health communities in the world, and to being the forerunners where countries and heads of state was coming to visit us to figure out what it is that we did to be able to get rid of modern issues. When you came and you knew just 30 years ago, you couldn't buy a banana in Liberia and was sickly looking, to now entities and heads of state is coming to visit based upon what it is that you did. That is what the transformation was. That was the whole aspect of what a Hebrew was and is a one who has crossed over. So it was that crossing over physically that led to a spiritual renewal of what it is that you can observe today. So when people are questioning our existence and why we went all the way to Israel, that's why. It wasn't necessarily, may not necessarily be about the geographical location as much as we may think. Who knows? But what we do know was that process allowed us to become something different. And that different is something that our people can benefit from, and that we have to be an example so that you can also get it, and we can stop instead of talking at each other. I can hear you, Sa, no matter what it is that you're saying, and see you as my brother first. I couldn't conceptualize doing anything of harm because I know you got children and a wife, and I understand all these particular things. And so that humility process and that transformation allowed us to be human again, and that's what it did for us. We can't speak for everybody else, but that's what it did for us.
Yes, and one more thing. Hold up, real quick.
Ahead,
One more
brother.
thing that I wanted to add on to it is that you brothers are very humble. Now, I don't want nobody to get humbleness with not being a warrior, because these brothers are also warriors and they trained. Understand that. So what I'm saying is that, brothers, I never seen you, Yosef, even though you know your brother's wrong or you know this sister's wrong, I've never seen you criticize them. You always gave a word of inspiration to your people, whether you believed it or not. Just like you said, I see my Muslim brother, I salute him. I see a brother that's down and out, I say peace and blessings to you. I've always seen you do that. And you know what? I want to ask you, brother, because when I left you in Chicago, you was running for something. How did that work out? Are you running again? Are you going to try it again, brother? Because I wish I was there to help you, brother. We need brothers like you in that position.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me say this, and it's perfect that you asked that question because it aligned the statement I was about to make relative to what my brother just so eloquently stated. He said we didn't know what Israel was. We didn't even know where it was on the map. Most of us didn't. Don't get me wrong, the leaders did, but most of us didn't. We made that decision. But even our leaders were completely unaware of what they were about to embark upon. But it's something about action that transforms you. And that's what we want to really kind of give credence to. It's the action, that step towards our liberation and our sovereignty that we took that transformed us, that it has on this continuous road of transformation. Every step that we take, every step that we make, we get closer and closer to what we want to become, to the point that Mother Winnie Mandela, the wife of Nelson Mandela, was the revolutionary herself, outside of her husband, because we wouldn't know about Nelson Mandela if it wasn't for those years that Winnie Mandela kept his work alive and his original intentions of having South African blacks be free from the apartheid. She came to Dimona on the request of my father, Prince ICL, and she said, this is the spiritual Mecca for Africa. She didn't say that because we were a finished product. She said that for what we had started and what we had shown up into that point. I go back to where we are now. It was action that transformed us. We are sharing this based on the question about that. So I'm about to get to that, brother, because we genuinely believe that we have the power to really be free. And we, for the last nearly 60 years, however you want to count it, the vision that our spiritual leader had was in 66, so that's 60 years, but we landed in Israel as a people in 69, so if you want to say 57, 58 years. We have been proven, proof of concept, as they say, how you know a business works, you need proof of concept. Well, we have proof of concept that yes, it's going to be struggle. Yes, there's going to be trials. Yes, there's going to be tribulations. Yes, we're going to go against adversarial forces at every turn and every corner, but we can live amongst ourselves independent of our former captives and our colonizers and enslavers. And that's what we come to say. So in regards to your question, I was going to run for alderman because I believe that I could make a change in the city. But when my father passed, I kind of went on a spiritual journey and I traveled to Africa and I traveled to Israel and I decided against it. And I remember a conversation, if I may use my brother, student minister Ishmael, and we was discussing about, you know, when I came back about me being running for the alderman and getting his advice. And he said something simply. He said, can you do everything you want to do without becoming alderman? And I thought about it and I said, well, technically, yeah. It may take a little longer, but yeah. He said, okay, but you can. I said, yes, sir. He said, well, can you do everything you're doing now when you become alderman? And I said, well, no. I said, well, that's your answer. And so my point in saying that, brother, is I decided ultimately against it because I'm already a government official of my own nation. I'm already a head of state of my own nation. I'm already, you know what I'm saying, a leader and a voice and a spiritually oriented representative of my own nation. And if I keep participating, and don't get me, I'm not spooky. So I'm not saying that we're not functioning, living, and none of us should. But some of us have to say, you know what? Let me disconnect as much as possible and empower ourselves. So as we continue to transition out of their world into our own, we have something established. So I decided to gear all of my energy, all of my attention, all of my resources, both intellectual and physical, to the building of our own independent world. Not a Hebrew world, but an independent world that are governed by righteous men and women under the laws of God, under the laws of truth. But again, that was my objective. So I decided against it, brother, because I can still have the same impact without the designation of being an alderman, right, in the community. And so now we in the community, we're doing different things inside as it relates to quelling the violence and building coalitions. But also now I have the freedom to travel, you know, across the country and across the globe to bring more relationships, bring more resources back into the community so that we can be empowered at another level. So that was my choice, brother.
Thank you, brother. All right, let me go to the mighty Hebrew.
Shalom, shalom, Crown Prince.
Peace, brother. Shalom, shalom to you.
Shalom, 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 Prince Yael. Shalom to Elder sa.neter, everybody on the panel. I'm glad that this happened. This is a great discussion, a great topic that was most needed. I seen that DJ Genesis from Alkanizing Energy came, showed a little footage of the situation that took place some time ago in Demona. And that was to show that me and her and a couple other people we had done. It's definitely an honor to speak on this topic. And I've also read a lot of the comments as well. And I think one of the things that we tackled over the years, just like even those within the Black conscious community, give a shout out to Elder Ashanti, the Dr. Chakamuta Barashingo, and many others, during the times of the 70s and 80s, and even going back to the 60s, we seen there was always a tug of war or like a clashing when it came to putting Kemet in that perspective of its African centeredness. We, the African Hebrew Israelites of Jerusalem, that is the same objective that we was bringing forth and that we are bringing forth, bringing the African Edenic, as we coin it in the kingdom of Yah, back to its true African Edenic presence. So many of us, when we discuss what's going on in Israel, we do have that Israeli Palestinian outlook based on what social media has given us, not really understanding the indigenous aspect of who's on the land. The Crown Prince, he said it well. He was speaking about the indigenous Bedouins, the Afro-Palestinians, the Afro-Ishmaelites. There are waves of African Edenic presence all throughout what we know as Israel, which we define as being in northeastern Africa. We made alliances with many of these indigenous tribes that been in the land for thousands of years that look just like sa.neter, that look just like Elder Sultan, that look just like me and you. So that I want to put that out there to let people know that prior to, you know, the 8th century incursion of Palestinians are now, or who they now call Palestinians, during the Crusades, there was an African Edenic presence of different Edenic tribes that were stationed in Israel, northeastern Africa, and what we now know as Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, Palestine, in the state of Israel. And I also want to give honor and accolade while we're here, because we're talking about the late Prince Asiel as well, with his Bane, his son, the Crown Prince, Prince Yosef. And I'm gonna remind the Prince, I don't know if the Prince remember, but I remember we was having a discussion, and I was in the land of the captivity. I was in the United States. And originally, you know, talking to the the late Shot Greer, I was going to go to Ghana. So I started talking to the Crown Prince, and we started talking about Tanzania. And the Crown Prince gave you the history about Tanzania as it equated with the Sixth Pan-African Conference in 1974 in Dar es Salaam, and that we were, or the African Hebrew Israelites were there and were recognized even at the Sixth Pan-African Conference. And you can look this up even in Tanzanian laws, that even to this day, that the Hebrews in Tanzania are recognized as an African Edenic people. And I wind up coming to Tanzania based on, you know, the monumental work of the great Shot Greer, Prince Asiel. So definitely from the Great River Egypt to the Euphrates, all this constitutes us as a people. So in this, you see the land of Kemet, you see Ethiopia, even as far as Uganda, you see the great land from the Great River Egypt to the Euphrates. We know the Nile River is 4,200 miles long, going to Lake Victoria and dropping into the Mediterranean. That's the Great River Egypt, pushing to the Euphrates. So we talking East Africa, Central Africa, all the way to what we now call the Middle East. And that's what we have to also get our people to understand. What we call the Middle East, that is in fact northeastern Africa. And the great Prince said it best. He said before they were there were people there before them, and et cetera, and et cetera. Once we get our mind capsulated back into the reality that Israel, or what is now known as Israel, is a part of the greater continent of Africa, then we can appreciate the mission more. And one of the things that the late Dr. John Henry Clark, the late Prince, oh man, I'm running out, y'all. I'm over here in Tanzania, so if it hangs up, I'm sorry. Can y'all still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Keep going.
I need you to close out real quick so I can get back to the
Yeah, he kind of faded out.
yeah.
I'm gonna close out. Can y'all hear me? I'm gonna close out because, you know, I want everybody to get their turn.
Yeah, you
So
sound
basically what I'm
horrible. You
saying,
sounding horrible, man.
you say what? Can you hear me?
You sound better now.
Okay. What I'm saying, at the end of the day, all those Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, those that came before us, they said it's a need for us to study what we would call the displacement of the people. And that's what we've seen.
All right, you got buzzing. You're buzzing, man. You're buzzing. I'm gonna have to let you go, Mighty Hebrew. All right, all right. Let me move on over. You want to respond to anything, my brother Prince? Or you got something to add on?
No, sir.
I want to say something, sir.
Go ahead. Cut your camera off.
And can
Okay,
you
hold on.
do me after
My
him?
mighty, my last thing I want to say to you both brothers, and I appreciate y'all. Y'all are, like sa.neter said, man, y'all are different types of Hebrews, because our brothers over here say they hate Africans and they're not their brothers. So I seen a whole different sort of Hebrew within you within you two, and I appreciate y'all, and y'all give me back faith in the Hebrew. They say they hate the Africans over here, brother. So I don't know. I'm gonna leave that there.
I want to say this as a practitioner.
No. Hold on, Genesis. I want to get the brother that didn't speak yet, and that's Black Mill. And I'll let you go right after Black Mill, Genesis. Go ahead, Black Mill. Peace. Rastafari.
Yes, sir. All respect. All respect to the brother and even the elder. I really wish I could have met him before he passed, which is Elder, Ben Ami. And I use y'all as an example because the Rastafari movement is kind of similar in the Caribbean. The vegan livity, which we call ITAL, yeah, most times the repatriation too. You all kind of move from one place to the other, and we preach that a lot. Which is Marcus Garvey's philosophy. What I would ask your brothers is, I know it's not a good question, but still, what I would say is like, would it be better that the elder went to, like you would say, I'm not saying that you should do that now. I know you all are branched out into Africa and different places right now, but if the elder went to Africa and you see, he would have been in a better position than you all were in Israel. I was just asking a question. I just thought of that because I've seen him in videos with the elder, which is Minister Louis Farrakhan in Ghana a few times. So, I was always wondering if the elder was in Africa, if it would be a better place, than in Israel at the time. That's just a question. And then if you all have any relations, one last one is if you all have any relations with the Ethiopians, with the whole Operation Moses and Solomon that happened a few years ago, decades ago, I could say.
Yes. I'll answer the first question. Would you like to answer the second question, or you want me to do both?
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna touch on both of them, but go ahead.
Okay. Yes, sir. First, thank you so much, brother. I'm smiling, and I'll get right to your question. I'm just smiling because I just shared with my brother, Prince Yorai. Really, I've been sharing with him for the last 2 months straight. We got to go to Jamaica. We got to go to Jamaica. We got to go to Jamaica. We got to establish in our generation a stronger relationship with our Rasta family. So if you snuck out, brother, and went to Jamaica without me, you're gonna have some trouble. But we plan on getting down there soon because my father always spoke about the beautiful, genuine love that he received when he spent time in Jamaica, when he was, building doing his work and building the kingdom, especially in the 80s and the early 90s. And so I just always remember his stories about his time in Jamaica, and I can't wait to get down there personally. I've never visited, and it's such unfortunate reality, but I'm going to make that be a difference real soon because I'm going to get down there to see my people. But to answer your question, it's a beautiful question. Let me first say this. We went to Africa first. So before we went to Israel, we went to Africa. Now, some will say, well, it was only under the intention that we would go and use Liberia as a way station to remove what we believe to be the nigritudes that we had accumulated during our time in America. And then we, once purified, would go up to Israel. And I say, yes, that's partially true. But the other part is we never left Liberia. When some of our brothers and sisters went to Israel just to visit, but came right back to Liberia. And we've had that position the whole time. And from our very inception, our goal was to develop relationships under the guidance and the leadership of His Excellency Ben Ami, spearheaded by my father, His Excellency Prince ICL, the ambassador, to develop relationships, working relationships with all of our brothers and sisters throughout the continent. And brother, we did not spare one region. We were in East Africa, Ethiopia. To answer your question, yes, we have a beautiful relationship with our brothers and sisters from Ethiopia, even with our Ethiopian community in Israel. That's a complicated reality in and of itself, but for the most part, we have a beautiful relationship with our brothers and sisters from the Ethiopian lands. We went to Uganda, Tanzania, Congo, Zimbabwe, South Africa, North Africa, Egypt, Liberia. We went through the whole continent. We didn't spare one part because we understood that our success is contingent on having a stronghold on the continent, the continental lands of Africa. But our language also from the beginning is Israel is Northeast Africa. So we didn't separate Israel from Africa. I know it has the connotation of being the Middle East, which is a creation after World War I, after the fall of the Ottoman Empire and the creation of the Suez Canal, which separated Egypt from Israel. But we never separated Northeast Africa, as we call it, from the continental Africa. And Northeast Africa was the headquarters, but we also knew again that our success was contingent on us building strongholds in East, North, and West and Southern Africa. So we were in Africa, we are in Africa, and we will forever be in Africa. And for my brothers and sisters say, well, why do you want to be in Africa? Listen, let me be clear. Not even the historical realities. That's obvious. I'm not here to debate that. But the importance of Africa is everybody on the planet seeks to have a stronghold in Africa because those who control the resources, both material and people of Africa, control the world. We're not trying to control the people of Africa. We're trying to unite and align with them in truth and therefore have dominion over the resources so that they're benefiting Black African people and not Asia and Europe. And so why wouldn't we have a stronghold over Africa where now we can feed the whole planet of our people so that we'll never have to know hunger again. We'll never have to know poverty again. We'll never have to know none of these things that we're victim of. Why wouldn't we build working relationships? Why wouldn't we establish a rapport with our brothers and sisters who have control over these lands, even though they're being manipulated by Europeans and other Asian nations that seeks to corrupt them, offering them trinkets and in exchange taking their resources and their land and their spirituality. And we're saying, you don't have to compromise to them. Let's build a relationship amongst ourselves. So that's been our objective. That's been our agenda. And that's what we're going to do until the job and the mission is accomplished. And that's one of my personal missions. And so though I'm primarily stationed here in America, my work takes me all over the planet. And everywhere I go is, again, focused on building relationships, not just to establish some kumbaya sense. And no, that's not my objective. It's to build power. And to build power, you have to build strategic relationships that give you a tactical advantage against your enemy. So if they use Africa to destroy and conquer the world, we're going to use it to gain our power and to regain our strength and to regain control over our lives and the lives of our people. So that's our objective with Africa. So no, brother, that's a beautiful question. And again, the narrative is that we went to Israel and we kind of overlooked Africa, but we never looked at Israel outside of Africa. We didn't see it as separate from Africa. They're one and the same for us. But we also had a stronghold on the continental lands of Africa as well.
All right.
So I want to just say, I know because he asked a two-part question. One of the first question, Prince Yosef answered that extremely well. And also, I just wanted to say, as it relates to that, is when our brother asked about the greater, what he was talking about was Israel's greater Israel project. That's not Israel's greater Israel project as far as a political state. Biblically speaking, those lands, the Garden of Eden, was from modern day Ethiopia that stretched out all the way and ended at modern day Iraq or Iraq. Those land, that whole region is Northeast Africa. That's not just from what we're saying. That is, when you again look at the flora and the fauna, that means the plant life and the wildlife. It shares African plant life and wildlife. It also is on the African tectonic plate. So In Israel, they admit this. We can take you to some pillars written in stone that says Haluach Ha-Afrikani, which means the African tectonic, it sits on the African tectonic plate. This is imperative to understand so that now you won't view Israel as Asia or the Middle East, but it's actually Northeast Africa. We are the forerunners and on the front lines teaching that truth, because that way you're not separating Israel from Africa, that particular land. Secondly, as far as the Ethiopian question, especially the Ethiopians that's in Israel, because it's a significant amount of them, the way that the Ethiopians came into the land, it almost put that first generation in subjugation to the Israeli state based upon how they came in. We came in like revolutionary rebels. This is what it is. This is our land. We coming back to receive our land. They came in through a different process of being accepted by the state of Israel, which in their absorption to that land, they were actually told to stay away from us. Don't go around them. Don't make alliances with them. And so that first generation, of course, them wanting to be obedient to that, to keep their status within the land. That's what happened. Now, here's what's beautiful though. What's natural and what's prophetic and divine, you can never subjugate too long. And so the younger generation, through their own experience of experiencing the things that are going on in that particular land, are now seeing for what it is, and we are now forming new alliances with them, which ultimately will benefit the whole. So just wanted to kind of, answer that. But we are very aware, and we understand that our Rastafarian brothers and sisters, going to Shashamani in Ethiopia, and that understanding that whole land is ours. We gotta gain that land back. That's territory, for whatever reason, prophetically, the Creator wanted that particular land, because it is the middle of the earth. It is something that is significant that we must regain for His will, not mine, not yours, not hers or his, but for His will, so that then the prophecy can play out the way it's supposed to.
All
Yes,
right.
sir. Can I say one last thing, sir? Can I say one last thing, sir?
Go ahead, say it.
Okay. Yeah. I was just saying, because I'm just familiar with the scriptures also. The brother earlier on, which is Mighty Hebrew, I think, give thanks to the brother still. He spoke of the land from the river in Egypt to the river Euphrates. And if you know the scripture, it goes down to Joshua. Joshua is like that last person who's, and it expanded with Joshua. It's like chapter 1 in Joshua, where it says from the river Euphrates to the Great Sea. And in a modern day map, if you type up Great Sea, you would see it's like where, like they try to put it where, that where the Black Sea and all these things, but we see it as the Atlantic Ocean. So just like you, we see it as from the river Euphrates to the Atlantic Ocean, meaning Africa plus Arabia is Africa. That's the holy land of Israel, according to the Bible. Because that's why people are making these moves. It's a biblical thing, not really, Yeah.
Thank you, brother. All right, Apostle, you want to speak? You want to say something?
Yeah, you said I was next.
Hold up, calm down. Apostle, you want to speak? I'm gonna let you go after DJ Genesis. That's what I was going to say, Genesis. Calm down.
Are you skipping over me? Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I just wanted to just show some love. As an Ephah priest, right? When I did my debate on your channel, the Ephah versus Torah, Mighty Hebrew came to me. He said, "You know what? I want you to have a deeper understanding of the Hebrew Israelites." And he did bring a lot of the Demona, people that are from Demona over to explain what, the Hebrew Israelite from that standpoint. And I will say that even up to my debate, whether you know it or not, it was the Hebrew Israelites that helped me with my debate with the Hebrew Israelites. against
Yeah.
the Hebrew. So I actually, by Dr. Ben's a date, he was the one that actually showed the correlation between Ephah and like the Hebrew Israelites and like the actual, you know, the Urim Thummim and divination aspects of certain priests, the Levitical priests. So I just wanted to actually say, like, when it comes down to, like, they didn't have any qualms about being on my platform, me being an Ephah priest, knowing that I practice Ephah. I might not, you know, be a Hebrew Israelite, so to speak. But when it really came down to it, they were able to come on my platform, you know, no holds barred. I was able to ask questions as an Ephah priest to understand more. Some people, you know, but most of them, they actually were very, very, well, not all of them, very, very kind and trying to like explain and tell me exactly, okay, well, this is what this is what that is. So I do want to give props to this particular group of Hebrew Israelites and how they understand the Bible, the Torah, and also connected it into Africa, like how they're able to really like there's no disconnect. Oh, you're African, so oh the Hamites and the blah blights and the blah 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 blights and whatever. Okay, well, if you practicing this, well, that's actually a portion of the Hebrew thing. There's actually a group of like priests. So I wanted to like ask, like, so when it goes into West and like the actual Levitical priesthood and Ephah and different aspects, what is you guys' thoughts on Nigeria, like, you know, West African, because there's a huge West African aspect of, like, you know, nature based, earth based traditions that involve divination. And what are you guys' standpoint on that aspect of divination, and you know, and how you guys see it?
Well, I am familiar with Ephraim practice as a whole. I'm not familiar enough with the particulars. So one thing that I'm always going to do, I'm going to be completely honest. And if I don't know something, I don't know it. You know, Dr. Khaled says that, you know, when you ask the question, answer it. But you better know the answer to answer it. Don't just make up nothing. So I'm not going to make up nothing. So let me say this, though, that you'll never hear me speak ill of any African spirituality, because I understand why it was so important for Europeans to use Christendom as a means to devalue Africa and to dissuade our people from their cultural norms. And that's why they made everything that was African, including their divine spirituality, which is, in all intents and purposes, a divine technology, as being criminal, as being Satan worshiping, and every other vile thing that they use to discredit. And so I'm not going to be like the white man that destroyed us and add and contribute in that vein. So if I don't know, I don't know. Something you can further teach me on, sister. But one thing's for sure, I'm never going to speak ill. We're never going to speak ill of any, you know, African spirituality that is found in the continent that our people practice in truth. You know, if you're using it to heal and protect your people and keep the culture going, you got our support, because that's what our objective is. And so, yeah, that's our position on that.
Right. Apostle, what's up, brother? You got anything, Apostle? You froze. Look like you froze, Apostle.
No, I'm not froze, man. It's just me trying to practice some decorum.
My brother.
That's all.
That's what I'm talking about.
I want whoever is at 369 P9 to let him know that his ultimate desire for me to practice decorum, like these brothers are, that is being humbly accepted. I'm right there with you, bro. I'm right there with you. I just want to know what type of decorum you practicing. But no, sir, I got nothing but respect for these brothers. I look at things a little bit different, but I support what they doing. I support my brothers over in Dahomey. I was going to ask them the same question about Ethiopia, but I'll just do it with those brothers down in as anyone that's 71 years old, you got to keep things intact. So the brothers down in South Africa, the Cornee.
You're talking about the lumber. You're talking about the lumber.
The limber, right? The limber, the Bantu, all of those over there that's pertaining or that claim to be Hebrew Israelites. Are y'all in communication with them as well as with the Ethiopians?
Yes, sir. One of the things that my father, Prince Asiel, did in particular was travel throughout the world and establish working relationships with any of our people that identified under the Hebraic faith or understanding or connected with us as a spirituality. And so we have a direct relationship with the Limbo tribe, with the Bantu, Lesotho, Swaziland. We had a direct invitation from the king of Swaziland, which is a sovereign entity down in South Africa. We have working relationships with the Zulus down from Soweto all the way down to Durban. And so we definitely have a working, wonderful relationship. And our Minister of Information, sa.neter, spearheads the South African jurisdiction. That's a term for our outpost outside of Israel, and he runs that particular jurisdiction down in South Africa. And so he is continuing to work to establish a healthy rapport and working relationship with all of our brothers and sisters in South Africa.
Hallelujah. Praise God, man.
All right. Thank you. Let me move on over to 7. 7, you got anything else?
Yeah, I wanted to continue to talk about the political situation they're going through, because right now in real time, Israel is probably the most hated country on the planet, and their allies are shrinking, and they may leave themselves to where they don't have the support of the most powerful army on the planet, which may leave them exposed to those Arab countries they've been attacking. What have you guys done to create any safeguards from you guys getting caught up in those, in a possible, Israel can go down kind of possibly like how you foresee for America to be going down because of their deeds. What safeguards have you brothers developed to protect your people and yourselves from any invasion or collapse of government?
That's a good question.
No, it's absolutely a beautiful question. That's why you have to build alliances, brother. And that's why I've been speaking on it over and over again. We were very intentional with that. We were clear that Israel, as a governed entity under the Euro-Gentile mind, as we said, white supremacist orientation, however you want to frame it, had but a short, limited time of governance and rule, that they themselves and their character would cause such destruction that they would bring on their own demise. We're seeing that unfold. It was only a matter of time. And so while we kept saying that we're set apart, even in our language now, it's like, well, you guys in the army. Yes, we are, but we're set apart. Well, you guys got brothers and sisters who may have married Israel. You're absolutely right, but we're set apart. We as a people are distinctly different than the Israeli government and the Israeli politics. We have individuals that may have crossed some lines, as we always do. You know, that's just a part of any nation. But we as a people are set apart. And we want that to be known, not just amongst the enemies of Israel, but amongst the friends of our people. And so we knew that we would have to develop relationships on the continent of Africa. We knew that we would never leave ourselves, which is our brothers and sisters here in America. That's why we still have a strong relationship with grassroots organizations. We still have a strong relationship with the Nation of Islam. I spoke that I sought guidance of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan before I went to Israel. You see, these things are real. So we have contingency plans, if ever necessary, if we need to move in their land or some of us need to come out temporarily. But we have those things in place, brother, because we understand that that governance can only last but so long. And we're never going to participate in that fall. That's why we had to do what we're doing, because we knew, and you spoke of this about this earlier, Apostle, like waiting for God to give us the sign. It's like, well, we all got a mission, and your sign is coming soon. But we were the forerunners to get ready and get it prepared for you, you know. And so as soon as they come down, we gotta however long. If it's tomorrow, we got a 60-year advantage and preparation for our brothers and sisters such as yourself to come on home and come back over there and serve the God of truth in your own land, if you so choose. You don't have to, but if you so choose, you got that opportunity. And we're not victim of being completely subservient to the Israeli government or needing of the Israeli government. If their rail falls, we've already been practicing on how to live and do for self. You get what I'm saying, brother? So we're prepared.
Yeah.
we're actually anticipating it. You get what I'm saying? And we
Yeah, I want. Hold on.
I got one more question.
Hold on, Seven. I'm gonna let you go. I want y'all to see how sa.neter responds to our brothers right here. You see a total different response between me and these Hebrew brothers, right? Now, can y'all imagine if we had the other YouTube Israelites up here? You see how Saul would go in. You see it, Mighty Hebrew, but you see the love and the respect that I have for these brothers all the time. Whenever I come in contact with them, it's because of their love and respect. It's because of their energy that they let off. They don't let off that aggression, that aggressiveness, that hatefulness. They come in peace. They come with love. And so that's how you get that. You receive that and you give it back. So you see the difference. See how Apostle smiles? and that's the difference, you know, with us. So when I get the other YouTube Israel, I know I'm ready for battle. I'm in battle mode now because that's the way they carry themselves. So I got to give them back the same energy that they give us. You know what I'm saying? You can even see Seven of Saul, how he received the energy and gives it back with the love. You can see it with all our brothers. Totally different. Even Apostle. Look at Apostle. He's smiling. He's smiling. He love it. Go ahead. Go ahead, Seven. Go ahead, Seven.
I'm smiling too, even though you can't see my picture. I'm smiling.
Yeah.
You know why that is, brother sa.neter? Is because these brothers are humble. They come in humble. So when you come in humble, it is only when you give that respect, you can only get it, right?
Right.
How can anyone come and disrespect these brothers? They've said some things that I've disagreed with, but not a lot. Not a lot for me to be contentious towards them, right? Because they welcoming. The brother just invited me if I wanted to come or not. And I appreciate the answer they gave because it shows that they have a plan. And that's what's necessary to do what they're doing over there. Make it no mind, brothers. I understand completely how hard and completely appreciate, which some people can't actually actualize and realize what you all have accomplished. And your history is a testimony. So I'm going to ask this one last question. What do you guys have in plan if the government come to you to help with the fight in their efforts in behalf of their government? Do you have any safeguards or any plans to evade once that confrontation may occur?
Can't give up all the secrets.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
I say
Well,
this.
I'm not asking them to outline the whole, just something.
Well, let me give this little anecdote, if I may, brother.
Sure.
And again, we're here to answer every question we possibly can, and to do it in truth and to do it in earnestness. And so, again, we got to be intelligent and we got to be strategic. So obviously, we got to move with tact. But I want you to understand, our hearts. And so I'm going to answer the best way I can that's appropriate for the situation, and God willing, we'll see each other in real life and we can have these intimate, serious, more, minutia conversations and we can build from there. But let me say this. We had a situation in 1986 where the Israeli government surrounded our community because we had decided in response to, egregious, illegal, really distasteful deportations and imprisonments that they had done to our members, where they had imprisoned children under 12 and 13, elders that were over 70 years old for no rhyme or reason outside of a fear tactic, the same things that white people do everywhere. And I use that loosely, but I want to just show how their tactics are always deployed in the same way. And so we said, okay, this was our response. We're going to march, because it was during the time of Passover. We're going to march from our city, Dimona, to Jerusalem, which was roughly about 88 kilometers, which is some quite distance, like a 2.5 hour car drive. But you're talking about on foot, it's a couple days, especially with children. And so to prevent us from marching, because they knew the type of political disaster that would be in PR, public disaster that would be, they surrounded us with military might, guns, tanks, the whole gambit, under the pretense that if we would march, they would shoot us down in the street. And so when we got there, brother, they didn't see fearful, frightened Negroes who was like, oh, don't do nothing. They seen mostly men, mostly women and children, but men who were unafraid, strong, bold, dressed in all white, saying that your weapons cannot prosper against us. Not that we weren't obviously aware of the reality of what a bullet can do to you, but we were saying that, hell, we tired of dying on our living on our knees. We'd rather die standing up. So if you're going to kill us, you're going to have to kill every single one of us. But guess what? They didn't. They didn't have the stomach for it. And what we noticed is that when you decide to really live and ultimately die if necessary for that which you believe, there's a spiritual force and power that protects you and guides you in those moments. So I'm saying that to say is that we're not compromising our position. Now, I'm not going to give the exact strategy, but I want you and the listening audience and the whole world know nothing will make us compromise our position and turn away from our God and our belief. We're never going to commit completely to their objective and their agenda. That's why we're here. That's why spirits like us exist. Even if some of us get weak, yeah, that happens. And we're going to have that over and over again. And some weak people have a voice and it makes it seem like those are the many. But we're here to tell you absolutely not. We're serious. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to do whatever it takes to hold on that mantle. And so that's why I wanted to share that little story, because we called it the day of show of strength, where we were able to turn the hearts of our enemies unto themselves and say, hold on, these Negroes ain't scared to die. You said that they was just going to roll over. We're not ready to massacre them in cold blood like we thought we were, with cameras watching us. You get what I'm saying? Because they know if they would have did that, they would have ceased to exist, and they wasn't really to make that move. And that same position still stands. Why? Why do we have the tactical advantage in that regard? And I'm not measuring it to the whole Palestinian thing, but what I'm saying is that we, from the very inception of our being in that land, had took a posture of peace. We did not lift up one weapon towards them. We did not rob, steal, murder any Israeli or any Palestinian. We just asked to be left alone in a portion of that country where they didn't even want to be at. So we didn't even displace anybody. And you still encroach upon us. You say that you're a post-racial world and that you believe in equality. And as soon as black people come and decide to determine their own reality, now you want to impose your racial realities on us? Absolutely not. We're not accepting it. So we're not the aggressors, but we will fight for what we believe in. And that's our position, brother. So to answer your question, no, we're not compromising, brother.
Thank you,
I bet
brother.
my life on that.
Thank you. I appreciate your answer.
Hey, thank you. Let me go to the mighty Hebrew once again. He's in the building. Then I'm going to let my brother Prince and the brother Ben close us out, because we got 2 hours and change in, Ben. All right.
Absolutely. The great Prince, he spoke upon it, as well as Prince Yael, and I keep saying this to the family. We got to get out of this.
Yorai, not Yael.
Oh, excuse me, Yorai. Excuse me, Prince Yorai. We got to get out of this mind state of looking at this location as being a part of another continent. Once we incorporate and understand that prior to the excavation of the Suez Canal, which was a 10-year period from 1859 to 1869, all that was connected to the rest of the greater body of Africa. So once we're able to bring that into retrospect, then geopolitically, we can place Israel as being a part of African affairs. But as long as we keep it separated, then from there, it's hard for people to see themselves involved, because I seen, for example, I seen a comment that was saying, why y'all even over there? That has nothing to do with y'all. That's none of y'all business. That quarrel has nothing to do with y'all. The reality is, when one understands history and they understand the plight of the original children of Israel of Bantu descent, then we have a clear understanding that we were in the land prior to these invaders. And when you start talking about the word Palestine, for example, it goes back to the Hebrew word Philistine. When the Romans conquered our land as an insult to the southern kingdom of Israel, known as Judea at the time, they purposely used that term Palestine as an insult. And then later on, it was adopted amongst those that came during the Crusade era, during the time of Saladin and others that came and occupied these regions between the 7th and 8th century ACE or AD. So I just want to make it clear to the listener audience that's watching, just as Kemet was classified by those pseudo scholars of that era during the time of the Reconstruction. Before then, they tried to make Kemet or Egypt a European civilization. This is the same thing that they did with ancient Israel and the ancient Israelites. They made African civilization into a European civilization. But once we understand the flora and the fauna, the indigenous people that still live there, the culture behind it, and also understand the objectives of the African Hebrew Israelites, and what we have come to bring forth was to reestablish us as sons and daughters of Yahweh, who the world may call God of presence, and into the minds of the people of the African diaspora, and Black people all over the earth, that Israel is in fact Northeastern Africa, and we are a part of that legacy that was stolen and stripped from us. So we have a strategic part and role to play as it pertains to that land, physically and prophetically. Hallelujah.
All right. Let me get Jose Francis up in the building. He just popped in. Jose, what's up? What's on your mind, brother?
Good
Do you
night,
have any
guys.
questions?
I missed the presentation, but I want the brothers to know we are with them,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what they go through. And we wish blessings upon them. And you must keep that backbone of a SAR and stand up for what you believe in, whether people agree with you or not. Because you are African, and so are we. So we have to stick together as brothers. So peace and blessings to everyone.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much, brother.
All right. My brother Ben, I need you to close us out, my brother. The reason I keep calling you Ben is because I don't want to butcher your first name. I'd be like, it's like a tongue twister for me. So I just say, Brother Ben, I don't want to butcher your name, brother.
Yeah, no worries at all. It's all good.
Yes.
Just to reiterate, it's your rye. So like rye bread and your rye.
Okay, you're right. You're right.
That's right.
You're right.
You're right. That's it.
Gotcha. All right.
Yep. That's it. Absolutely.
All
So,
right.
man, what I want us to observe is the exchange of today, and how much more it may not be as always as entertaining, but how much more fruitful it is to be in harmony with one another, where we can have differences. We can have different perspectives, which is the angle in which we're seeing it from. We can have different perceptions of what we're seeing, but we can still have respect for one another. And that respect will translate to our ability to unite around common causes. Because at the end of the day, those that are adversarial of those of us who have this level of skill, ability, and intellect that we were just blessed with genetically, don't see a difference. He don't know that you practice Islam and I practice being a Hebrew. He doesn't know that and does not care. But when we able to come with this level of respect and again unity, we're able to build something. We're able to create. We're able to move and shift things. And this is what energy we used. It's very hard to build on hate, shame, lust, and all these lower energies when you start dealing with the reality of vibration. But it's much easier to build on joy, on peace, on respect, on law, and on order. And at the end of the day, that is the what's to be said here. So anybody who's looking to live in that higher realm of consciousness, you are a brother. We may disagree on what we eat. We vegan. We may be that ain't may not be your path. But if you are in alignment with that, let's build. Please, let's make sure that we share information and we find each other and let's go from there. That's all I gotta say. Toda, thank you for everybody on the particularly call, and it was fruitful to me. And Sa, it was so good to see you. Long time, man. I love what you do. I love what you continue to do, and you've always been a great friend to us, and you always will be.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
All right, Prince, it's on you, brother.
I first want to thank the audience, those who may have not had a chance to speak, those who may have not had a chance to leave a comment in the comment section, but those who watched and gave your time and your attention to us is vitally important. Again, we didn't come over here to proselytize. We didn't come over here to convince anybody of anything. All we ask is that if you genuinely desirous of a better world for our people first, that you just take a look at, what we've done and what we are currently sharing, and then what we could do together, if we could function on common ground. And so that's our objective. I want to thank all of the contributors to the conversation, all those who spoke and had questions and made comments and gave us their support, and just show love, man. I appreciate each and every one, and all you brothers and sisters that, were part of this panel today. I'm honored, and I want you to know that I'm your brother in truth forever. sa.neter, I'm eternally grateful for you, brother. As you know that, it's been a genuine brotherhood from the very start, man. As you show in the pictures, yes, sir. Me and we're gonna be connected forever, man. So
that's Mas Mariam. Mas Mariam, you took me up in there. We on the stage of where the minister give his dynamic speeches at right there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
And I'll close on this because I know we've been going for a while. Our objective again. Let me know first. I have to say this. I have to again thank my brother Prince Yorah, because this is a real brother's brother. As you can see, you talking about humility is even amongst each other for us to, want to talk and speak. And we got roles and positions. I'm relatively speaking the man that does the speaking and the spokesman for us. So he gives me that, but I can't do what I do without him, and vice versa. And so I'm grateful for brother, because he always makes sure that he incorporates our prophetic aim and goal and desire. And I'll be so caught up in making sure that I, try to reach my brothers and sisters and speak our language, that sometimes I can get short-sighted and not remember to reiterate our spiritual orientation. So I thank you, brother. But most importantly, that brother's got a heart like a lion. Like I said before, when we had the difficult choice of going into war-torn Israel when the bombs were dropping, and nobody else wanted to go. Everybody else thought it was the most asinine, foolish thing in the world. Brother said, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Let's go check on our people, like we would if we were on the south side of Chicago. Something happening, we out there in the community. And brother is definitely a true soldier of God. So I just want to say that our objective is, and Sai, I want to be on more often. I'm going to be more vocal and share more things, and we come and give presentations and continue to engage with each other. So I'm going to do better. 4 years, I think, is the last time I've been on the platform. We ain't going to let that time pass. I think when my father made transition was the last time. So yes, 4 years in August. So I'll say this in closing. Our objective is simply this. Like I said, we're not here to proselytize. We're not here to convert nobody. We just want to bring light to what we have done and how we can move forward as a people. Our only goal is to see Black people have power and to be liberated and to be a people that control their own destiny. And whatever we can do to contribute to that, that is our goal and our aim. And so I am only the man that I am today, and by God's grace, the man I'm coming to be. If it's for my fathers and my leaders and teachers, His Excellency Ben and me, I forever give praise and honor to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Brother Munir Muhammad, Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. These are men who either indirectly or personally taught and molded me. But my personal father, Prince ICL Ben Israel, and my mother, I'm never leaving out the sisters. My mother, who was a Muslim angel, Muhammad, helped mold and shape me. But all honor and praise go to the Holy One of Israel, Yah Israel, for giving me the breath of life. And so I thank each and every one of you brothers and sisters for participating and just hearing us out today. And I pray that we continue to build on truth going forward. Thank you so much, brother sa.neter.
Nasik, if you can make sure that you give your
and the reason why he missed the mark is because
this was at your house, my brother Prince. This was at your house.
he was missing the point. So let's break down this word Africa. We got to set the record straight. Now, I heard Professor / Brother Larry go back to Publius Cornelius Scipio during the Punic Wars 210 BCE. Are the people of
this was at your house, brother. We was getting it in.
Yeah.
I gotta look for the video where I
my mathematics is. Please see. If you start from here, it means no feelings. When you look.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother Ben. Close us out. What you were saying?
Yeah, I just wanted to. There's some people, a couple people who wanted to connect. Yosef, if you can make sure you say your Instagram, so people can connect, and I'll say mine so they can connect. Anybody like mine want to connect in that way.
Yes, sir. Was it Nasik Yosef? N-A-S-I. Melik Yosef. Thank you, Steve. I need my brother. Melik Yosef. MELEKYOSEF at IG or how that goes. I've been dormant for the last couple of years again, just kind of doing the work in the streets, but I'm coming out of that phase too, so I'm posting more frequently. My brother's keeping me accountable that we record and document some of the things that we're doing in the community and across the globe. And so I'm more active on my page, and so you can absolutely reach out, direct messenger me, and we can go from there. And I'll make sure that once the show is over, I'll go and put it in the actual chat or the comment section so it can be there as well.
Yes, thank you, DJ Genesis, for that. My Instagram is Yorai, YORAI _ the last African, THE last African. Yorai _ the last African. That's on Instagram as well. Connect with us on there if you're looking to do anything, collaborate in any kind of way. Connect with us on there, and we'll be able to guide the conversation how it needs to go. Thank you again, DJ Genesis. Much appreciation, for everybody on the call.
All right, everybody. Thank y'all for
coming. Let me ask him a question before we go.
No more questions. No more questions, brother. Sorry. Thanks everybody for coming through.
What he said. I can't hear him.
Thank everybody for coming through. Peace and black power. We out of here, man. All right. Y'all can get ahead. Thank you, Prince. Peace. All right. I want to thank everybody for coming through, man.